then Midsummer Murders, and later Waking the Dead.
What a slump for North Adelaide. Just a few weeks ago, the Roosters were targeting top place. But after 2 losses in a row to sides sitting below them on the ladder, they're now just looking to consolidate a place in the top 3.
Looking for O'Sullivan, who gets towards the point of 50, gets to 40, gets to 35, takes a bounce. Can he finish it? Yes, he does.
At least the Roosters have their destiny in their own hands. They face the Eagles this afternoon, a team that's eyeing off a double chance position as well.
Cutting off the handball, soccer and goal.
And they've won their past 2 games in their quest as they build towards an assault on the major round.
Oh, Rakawasa in the tackle, turnover, and Angers made him pay.
A victory for both sides is critical to their finals hopes, and we have every kick, mark and handball covered.
Ryswick puts on the afterburners, closes to 50, and he's got it.
It's round 20 as North Adelaide takes on the Eagles.
Well, we'll have lots of kicks and marks, but I'm not sure about just how many how many marks we'll see this afternoon. We'll have lots of kicks and handballs, but maybe not so many marks. In windy conditions here at Prospect, the covers were removed a little earlier. There's still a little bit of mud in the centre of the ground. We're expecting some rain to come with the wind as well a little later this afternoon. Hello and welcome to what should be a very interesting clash, certainly for both these clubs, Ben, as they look forward to finals, a top 3 spot on the line.
Absolutely, Neil. Look, they're sitting in second and third at the moment. We know West Adelaide are 1 game behind, but they've played 1 less game. They've got a bit of a softer draw too, West Adelaide, so this game today crucial for both of these sides.
Well, speaking of crucial decision during the week about AFL clubs having reserve side in the competition, and the Crows have got the okay, and so it will change the face of SANFL football.
It certainly will. It's look, it was hotly debated, as we know. The club's decision came back and it was 6-2. The Crows wanted a unanimous decision, but since the decision was made, they've seemed to have taken that and run with it, and the SANFL clubs now all saying they're very much for it.
Absolutely. You mentioned 6-2 result, but the President, John Olsen, straight away was on the front foot, very happy to go forward.
The 8 directors representing the governing body made the decision tonight, and subsequent to that decision, it is a united group. There is unanimous view that we want to make the competition successful, and the entry of the AFL clubs as second teams needs to be done successfully, and to that end everybody will work together to ensure it is.
Well, I've said the AFL clubs, of course, Port Adelaide invited in as well, so the conditions will be worked out of the entry of the Crows next season, and perhaps even Port Adelaide, that's still to be decided.
It certainly is, and Port Adelaide's saying that they're really focused perhaps maybe on that year after at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see how they do that. The logistics of it for mine are still, they need to be worked out very carefully, especially that top-up proposal and where those players are going to come from for the Crows' second side.
Well, again, the word unanimous came to a head a few times, and the Crows were looking for a unanimous decision. They didn't get it, but that didn't stop their chairman, Rob Chapman, from straight away on Thursday night getting, again, like the SANFL, on the front foot.
Look, obviously we're very pleased with the League Directors' result tonight. There's been lots of discussion, us to the clubs with their members, lots of talk. I think now it's time to walk the walk now, and this football club is unequivocal in its support for this decision. We can't wait to be part of the SANFL competition next year, and we will do whatever it takes to make this to be the tremendous success that we expect it to be.
Well, it's not 1990, but you just got that feeling that the 2013 premiership will be the last as we know it.
Yeah, it certainly will. We know that we really look forward to the future now. It certainly has been controversial, the way this has been done, and there's still a lot of controversy involved with it. But we've got to look forward to the future, and hopefully the SANFL is a stronger competition because of it.
Well, in the near future, we can look forward to the battle for the top 3 spot this afternoon between North and the Eagles. They've met twice already this season, and it was a win for North Adelaide in round 7 very comfortably by 38 points. The round 14 match considerably closer down at Woodville. North losing after the siren by just 2 points to the Eagles. Interesting, these clubs have split their last 10 games, 5 wins apiece, so they are very, very tight and tough combatants.
They're definitely evenly matched. You see the blowout there from North Adelaide. They've been a very good side at Prospect Oval over the past 11 games. They've won 10 of them, just dropping that game to Central Districts earlier this year. So you'd expect maybe that they'll roll over the top of the Eagles today, but it's going to be a really close encounter.
Well, here's a look at why this match becomes so important with North, the Eagles and Westies, and only 2 of them will get the double chance at the end of the season. So it shapes as a crucial match this afternoon. North Adelaide coming up has Glenelg, a bye, and Norwood to finish with. And the Eagles have a bye in round 21, then Norwood and West Adelaide to finish with. So they're all playing each other, and it starts this afternoon. If we look at the full list of round 20 fixtures, we'll see that with North taking on the Eagles. Here, of course, Central's playing West Adelaide, which is a preview at this stage of the elimination final. South playing Port tomorrow at the Eagles, and Norwood as well. But these are the 3 teams, North, the Eagles and Westies for 2 spots.
Absolutely, and West Adelaide, we know, have a slightly softer draw. They've got that extra game up their sleeve. They've got to try and catch up, but they do have the extra game. And West Adelaide, with that softer draw, you'd think perhaps that 2nd and 3rd spot maybe will be decided by today's outcome.
Let's go down to Chris Kendall on the boundary for the first time this afternoon. And Chris, it's been a tough couple of weeks for the Roosters.
Yeah, look, it certainly has been. This last couple of weeks, I think most of us thought that Central's game was a losable game, but not many picked them to drop the game to Sturt, and that really has thrown a bit of a spanner in the works for them. Shahinga and Kanga are the 2 that are dropping out of the 21. There was some talk that the Crows would release Matthew Wright back to them also. They've opted to keep Matthew Wright there for tomorrow's game. Good signs for North Adelaide, however, in the reserves. Club captain Greg Gorman, well, we saw he had that terrible broken jaw back in round 1. He's played his 2nd game in the reserves today, and he's starting to find a bit of touch now, getting his way to the football, working his way into the contested situations. You'd think that probably after one more game in the reserves that Greg Gorman should be okay to come back for them, and in the run home that is going to be very handy for North Adelaide. The thing also for the Roosters at the moment, as Josh Franco would well and truly know, depending on results at the end of the day, they could drop back as far as 4th. Interesting to see how the playing group responds to that one midweek.
Look, I think the players look at the ladder. We've discussed it briefly as a coaching group and as a playing group, but look, you don't have to be Einstein to work out that the destiny's in the hands of the side that wins today. And as you said, if we lose today, we drop down the ladder and we make it really difficult for ourselves.
Do you feel in the last 2 weeks that the players have perhaps started looking a little bit ahead to other games and forgetting about the games they're actually playing in?
Look, I don't know if that's the case. Look, we've definitely over the last couple of weeks have moved away from the things that have made us really strong and competitive throughout the first sort of 2/3 of the year, and we need to get back to doing those things that make us good.
Interestingly enough, North Adelaide are the number 1 scoring side in the SANFL, but since they've lost Lewis Johnson a couple of weeks ago to the Crows, they've really struggled to kick that score. They've lost a bit of direction going forward. Daniel Stewart will again be very important for them up there. Langford comes back in. I was surprised to see him drop last week, but we know it's North Adelaide's ball getters that will be so important for them today. George Thring, Ryswick, Max Thring and Nick Amato, who was excellent for them in that loss to Sturt.
Chris, for the Eagles, well, they've gone through 46 players in SANFL high this season.
Yeah, and they're going to have to try and find one more along the way there too. Sam Hindges is the one who drops out of the 22 that was named today. They're going to have to do it without the 2012 Best and Fairest winner Angus Roundtree, however. Last week, looked like a fairly innocuous sort of thing out there on the wing more than anything else, just running for a contest, and as you can see, slips over at the last minute, and unfortunately that was the end of Angus Roundtree's season. He's gone in for a full reconstruction, so you would think that, even if he went down the path of exotic surgery or anything like that, he's going to be out for at least 9 to 12 months. That takes away a lot of their clearance side of things, and we know that Woodville West Torrens are so good in the clearances all season, no question about that. The thing now though for Coach Michael Godden is the way that they've started to make that run home, all of a sudden from nowhere, the double chance is a genuine possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's been an indifferent year for us. We've played a lot of players and we've been up and down week to week, and yeah, we certainly need to consolidate. We've had 2 good wins now in a row, and this is a big one against North Adelaide today.
bit of a restructure in attack, no Andrew Ainger, so you're going to go small in these conditions?
Yeah, we will. We'll go with a couple of tools and then rotate our ruck through there. But yeah, we need to probably go a little bit smaller than normal, obviously with Ainge out and Salter. He's probably not really a power forward these days, so he plays a bit more of a medium size.
Well, without Ainger, the Eagles have lost a 39 goal kicker so far this season. They'll rely upon Goldsworthy, who's kicked 30 as a running player, and also Salter, not the key forward he was, as you heard Michael Godden say, but certainly an important forward for them. What the Eagles do so well is they win that contested footy. They've got great clearance players in Scott Lewis and Luke Powell, and they've got the run from the wings from the likes of Jared, and also they get Kane Mitchell back today. So it'd be a great contest on ball. Another big one in the ruck as well between Parry and Craig. So lots of interesting matchups, and look, it's going to set itself for a fantastic day.
Let's have a look for the coin toss there, with Todd Miles doing the honours for the Roosters and Luke Powell for the Eagles this afternoon. And Luke Powell winning the toss, going to the right of screen, which is the southern end. And Chris, as I so eloquently put it before, there will be not many handballs, or there will be a lot of handballs and kicks out there, but not many marks with that breeze and perhaps even a little bit of rain.
Yeah, I wouldn't think there'd be too many. That's a good toss for Luke Powell to win, no question about that. It is certainly blowing to the southern end of the ground. It's also blowing across the ground in an easterly direction at the moment. 16 degrees today. I'm told there'll be some showers, possibility of hail later on in the day, so it's a great week for Benny Knights to pop himself up into the commentary box, no question about that. But look, if these weather conditions do hold, it's going to be really critical that teams going with the wind do use it as much as possible. That is blowing a gale out there, so as you mentioned there, the kicks going against the breeze are really going to drop short today.
No prospect of lightning for you, Chris. We've got every other forecast there, and it's currently it's milky sunlight.
I'm certainly hoping there won't be lightning, Neil, because this metal thing in my hand will be one of the first things that gets hit.
Thanks for that, Chris. Just a quick look across the ground. Players set, ready to go for what should be a fascinating clash, and a preview perhaps, who knows, both these clubs might get through for the double charts. Welcome for the first time this afternoon to Kim Morgan.
Thanks, Crossy. Well, it's been a massive week, hasn't it, in the history of this competition. We're back on the field. A massive game in the context of the season to come. Winner will go a long way towards securing a double chance. And the loser will face an uphill battle, particularly the Eagles with their draw to come. And we know double chance historically is so crucial to having a crack at the premiership. The ball's up and immediately locked up. Sunshine for the moment. We just heard Chris Kendall, boundary side. Could even be some hail later on. Certainly we expect some rain. It's going to be a tough game today. Amato it is, who's in there. He's been in good form for the Roosters over the last couple of weeks. So we have a look at the Eagles bench.
We've got Borholm, Appleton and Scotty Lewis starting on the pine here for Woodville West Torrens, boys.
Thanks, Chris. So the Eagles kicking with this gale. They want to use it. Amato again was in there. Mitchell. Topo came out for a moment, but back into that congestion. We're going to see a lot of contested stuff early, boys.
Mouth-watering match-up today. George String versus Luke Jarrett out in that far wing too, as we look at the North bench. Chris?
We've got Greg, Teasdale and Archer down here. And also, boys, good to see Luke Ivans back in the team after such a long layoff.
George String off half-back for North Adelaide. And Raymond taken to ground in that tackle. Probably see the ball on the outer side of the ground for a lot of the game today, and also, as we said, with that breeze, probably down towards the right of screen. The ball will spend a lot of time. Parry knocks it down to Powell, and Powell inside 50 and just out of bounds. We'll get that throw in about 55 around from goal after the umpire retrieves the ball, which kept bouncing along, as you see there, down the fence line.
You think the conditions perhaps, Neil, would suit the Eagles a little bit better. They're a little bit better in tight. They've got maybe not the leg speed, but they've certainly got the knit and grit in underneath the packs.
I reckon we've had about 2 possessions so far in this game, and we're a minute and a half in. There's a third. It's Powell again. High hooking ball. It was touched off the boot. Goldsworthy had made an effort to get across, and then a soccer through from Nick Salter. And the first score on the board, the Eagles.
Roosters quick to bring the ball back in. And they work it down this side of the ground. Surprisingly, the kick carried further than the players expected, and Gafrida eventually took the ball over the line.
Max String with that little punchy kick that he does so well, keeping it low, keeping it perhaps in the shelter of the grandstand. And if they do use the grandstand wing going forward, then that's probably the way to go, because it is going to be sheltered from that breeze, which is quite stiff.
Sumner inside of Grafrida, who just goes for territory, and that ball covered a lot of territory from a little punch. And at the back and on the snap there for Dunstan, and Dunstan, the under-18 state captain this season, away for the minor score.
Pretty spoiled, aren't we, Neil, that we can see some of these under-18 boys that had such great carnivals coming through. We saw Battersby do so well last week. We've got Dunstan to look forward to today, and there's certainly a lot of talent, a lot of young talent in the SANFL at the moment.
There is such a good team. Won that carnival, of course, the under-18s, and Dunstan, third game today. He was on target last week. He kicked 3 goals. Now, was that ball touched? Was. So Ryswick getting a hand to it, and we'll have a throw in.
Well, Benny.
Certainly touted Dunstan as a first round pick and possibly even top 10. Looking forward to watching him today, and he'll be one of the guys the Eagles need to step up with. Angus Roundtree sadly going down with that knee. So Jared, fair to handball. High kick out of there. Now that's a great mark from Fitzgerald. Not an easy guy to take a mark on in Todd Miles, and Fitzgerald in his first game since round 2, that was a strong grab.
Yeah, well, Zach Fitzgerald doing exactly what Michael Godden would want, and that's standing up in front of goal. We know that Angel's gone down, he's kicked 39 for the season, and the Eagles do need another avenue from one of their bigs, so that's a really great start and a positive start for the Eagles.
Wasting no time, Fitzgerald. Kicked 11 goals in 7 games last year. That included bags of 5 and 3 against North. Now he's kicked the goal. Goal will stand, another whistle, and there'll be a free kick back in the middle, and it's going to go North Adelaide's way.
Yeah, it was just George Schring that dumped on his backside there straight after that kick, so obviously getting on the lip a little bit and taking offence to, but North Adelaide getting the kick out of the centre. That's pretty important when the wind is blowing so strongly to that southeasterly corner.
James Craig, the ruckman for North Adelaide, to take the free kick. He has no mosquito fleet around him.
Here comes Dalwood.
Yep, he's not mosquito fleet either. Dalwood stands about 191 centimetres. The umpire waiting, and eventually will give the okay.
Yeah, waiting.
So Craig tries to drive the ball into that wind. You see it held up, and at the front was Ryswick, read it best. Now he'll have to punch the kick low as well. Lots of numbers now flooding back inside 50. Ryswick tries to come to the centre of the ground. Middle of the pack, taken by Stewart. Well, on a day like this, that's invaluable, and almost, well, we've only seen a few marks this afternoon, only 3 of them, and that's almost mark of the day, just to read that in a pack.
It's a great pack grab. It was a really sensible kick, though. It was propped up. You know, if he bombed it long, it would have drifted towards that pocket. Very, very difficult to kick goals from that deep pocket today. So a really sensible kick, 35, 40 out from goal, and a good opportunity for North to go forward. 24 goals on the season for Daniel Stewart, and he pumps it hard, and they get an answering goal straight away. That's a really good answer from North Adelaide, going against the breeze, and I'd expect this from both of these sides today to be a bit of a shootout. North Adelaide number 1 in attack. The Eagles, as we know, 3 or 3rd in attack this year, so 2 forward lines that are a little bit different to each other. North Adelaide probably relying a little bit more upon their tools, but still getting goals from the likes of Ryswick and also Gordon. But a really great pack grab by Stewart, a great answer by North Adelaide, and again, the importance of that free kick out of the centre, it can't be underestimated on a day like this where it is going to be tough to get the ball forward to that left of screen.
Yep, that's right. Goals to that end, time will tell, but they could be worth 2 today. And they go forward again through 3 new North Adelaide. Ball bounces awkwardly. Ryswick was in there pressuring Sumner, who got a handball wide. The underground kick for touch was good. In fact, it's been played deliberate. So in a day like today, that's a tough call. Amato won't mind. He's been in good form. He hoists it high. Teasdale, the unlikely flyer. Couldn't hold the mark. O'Sullivan's a big chance here. He's good around goal. The chipping kick looked inside. It was Gordon he was looking for. Coming out was Langford. Gets it back to Gordon, who goes to the 40-metre line or so. Jared was there. Hoiking kick's going to come straight back. Goes to a dangerous looking spot. And a good fist there came. And Mitchell won't be too disappointed to see that one over.
A really good, strong contest there from Gafrida coming across, being the extra man up. And again, we don't want, or the Eagles don't want North Adelaide to be getting any one-on-ones down there. They've got the big tools. Langford back in today as another marking option.
Huge throw in. And you're going to get that with the aid of the wind. So that ball almost into the central corridor from the boundary umpire. And we get a free kick there to Luke Jarrett. And we know he's a big kick in good conditions, and these are good conditions for a big kick at that end of the ground.
Good conditions for a onesie like that too, I tell you.
So away come the Eagles off half-back, and that kick just carried too far. Gee, that was well read, though, by Max Thring. Took the mark on centre wing. Down to half-forward, punched the ball low. And roaming far and wide at the moment is Gordon. So he's 60 from goal and just drops it in short for Teasdale. Hit him on the chest, couldn't control the ball. Away comes Raymond now. Opportunity inside, he goes by hand. Lewis, who started on the bench. Then off to Chris Hall. Chris Hall with the long delivery looking across half forward. Fitzgerald came, so did Miles Tough behind with the punch. And now we'll get a ball up just ahead of centre wing for the Eagles. And they lead by just 2 points.
Boys, just keep an eye on how they're using Joe Anderson at the moment. He's playing a ruck roving second tall forward role at the moment, and the Eagles are struggling to find a match up there, and it's also his 50th game.
Borholm in the ruck for the Eagles. Got down to Salter, who's tied up straight away. And he was in great form, Joe Anderson, wasn't he, CK, until that injury, that hamstring injury a couple of months ago. Now just trying to find that form as the ball tied up again. So backward of centre wing here for North Adelaide, who've started pretty well into this breeze, you got to say. It's probably worth a few. The Eagles are kicking with it. They're 1-2, North are 1 straight. O'Sullivan, no space there. Chris Hall, it was the tackler. So much on the line today. Both sides 11 and 6. Winner will go to outright second at the end of the day. O'Sullivan, that kick, a toe poke, but it was ill-directed in the wind, and it's going to go to Hall. O'Sullivan ambitiously wanting a free kick there, but Hall takes it. Shifting ball, wants Jarrett, and he slides in and takes a good mark.
Just an indication how much rain has been soaked up by this ground at the moment as Thring and Jarrett went to ground there. Now the long kick into a dangerous place. Off hands, Anderson missed it. Chris Kane jostled out of his hands as well. Now Salter off to Mitchell. Snap without looking over the shoulder across the face and out on the full.
Mitchell being given a fair bit of space at the moment on North Adelaide. We've seen him get some pretty heavy tags throughout the year. I remember South Adelaide did a really good job on him quite a few rounds ago, but he's been given a fair bit of space. Teely occasionally going to him, but very, very soft tag.
Max Thring with the kick. Ivans off hands. Out the centre wing. Teasdale's across there. Raymond and Gafrida was first there. Now his kick, just back down the line he goes. Ill-directed, really. Teely comes to meet it, goes to ground. Umpire said that was okay. The Eagles turn it over. Raymond was hit hard. The ball finally through their hands. Sumner was involved, gave it up. And then a wobbly old kick only succeeds in finding Mitchell. The handball into the path of Fitzgerald, and he's kicked a point. Just under a little bit of pressure. Just at the last moment, couldn't steady.
Certainly going to be a very tough kick, that switch of play out to this grandstand side. It's really blowing quite strongly across the ground, and you want to be very, very sure of your kick if you're coming out to this grandstand side today.
So Thring'll bringing this one in. Gee, what a let off there. The centering ball from Clinch was horrendous, you've got to say. Now Parry takes this mark. Fourth in the comp in hit-outs. And his opponent today, Craig, first. So that'll be a good battle. Parry, a veteran now.
Good to see him back from that collarbone injury he had too. He was pretty sore for a few weeks there.
So Hall wanted Staple. He went up high, couldn't bring it down. Thring had to be quick. Didn't get rid of that all that convincingly. Umpire paying him some leniency, and then he will ask for it down there. So 12 minutes almost ticked over. The Eagles haven't quite made use of this breeze yet, but they've still got a half a quarter to do so. Sumner, he'll hook round the body on the left. Fitzgerald was the target. Miles clever with the foot, and that's a beautifully directed pass. He'll claim it. Shannon. Now they're going to switch here to the grandstand side of the Roosters. It's George Thring. He'll look up. Gordon was the target. Gee, he's good in the hands. He didn't take the mark, but he brought it down to advantage. Got it to Max Thring. He hacked it forward. Great attack by Stewart. The handball was good too. It'll sit for O'Sullivan. And he's going to be holding on to Tealsdale 30 metres or so off that ball. So it'll go North's way. Plays on quickly. Gordon looks up. He's got one-on-ones up the field. He puts it to advantage. Langford got the spoil. In fact, Langford's down. He hooks on goal and just didn't quite have the radar on that one.
It's good use of this top side, though, by North Adelaide. I mean, that really is going to be the attacking side. So if they can get a run on and get the ball moving quickly down this side, they've got a really good avenue to goal.
Back to a 2-point game. And the Eagles down the far side of the ground. Ellis Yeoman up in front, off hands, over the boundary.
Gordon's footy smarts in that last passage of play were sensational, boys. He not only read the wind, but found time then to make space for the next contest and then for another contest. Really intelligent stuff.
His kick was punched low. I don't know if you're able to pick it up on screen, but for 30 metres it looked like a bullet, and then the wind actually took it, and all of a sudden it became a drifting in-swinger.
Well, they took the covers off pretty late today, so good day for in-swingers.
Well, it depends which end of the ground you're coming from, bowling from, I suppose. Hall off the pack in the direction of half forward. The bounce suited Miles, who came through strongly. All showed the ball, bit of flair from the big man. Then the high kick looking for Stewart. The punch came to the front. Anderson with the rove. Anderson inside 50 high. Gordon in good position. Got to the front. Ellis Yeoman with the punch. They did well to get out of that, the Eagles. And they'll come away through Ellis Yeoman. The kick to Hall on centre wing was pretty good. Now Hall bounces his way. He can go through the centre. He's decided to do that to Fitzgerald. Quickly he goes on to Powell. He might even cover the distance. And instead he goes with a short pass to Salter. The rebound was pretty good. The snap was even better. And they have another goal on the board, the Eagles.
Fantastic transition football by the Eagles. They ran that ball beautifully. That little kick, the change of direction, the kick through the centre was just wonderful. It opened up the space. They had the runners. It was really unfortunate for Dowwood there. He put in a wonderful spoil. Powell's kick came in low and hard and fast. Here's that little centering kick, the run from Powell coming through. That kick was excellent. Dowwood's right fist, a wonderful spoil. Very unlucky that just the bounce came back, but a great spoil, yet bettered by an even better snap. And an answering goal, or another goal extending the lead for the Eagles.
We've touched on Kane Mitchell before, boys. They tend to win when he's dropped back in the lineup, so good signs already for the Eagles.
He's just as dangerous at ground level, Salter, isn't he, as he is in the air. It's his 28th goal in the season, 14 games, so 2 a game. And that was not the best bounce. The umpire let it go. Jared and got it from Parry, and then got it to Kane and back to Jared, and then a high ball that'll just drift on that breeze. So it'll come back.
It's pretty strong out there, and we saw that bounce. It went up reasonably straight, but it almost landed outside of the second circle. So the ruckmen need to be aware of that. They need to be jumping a fair way to the right of that circle.
The kick, it's coming straight off the coast, that breeze, isn't it? Really strong easterly. As George Thring ran into that one where he made a dangerous ball pretty good, then put it to the corridor. Big ball to be won. It'll go the Eagles' way. The handball here, inside to Dunstan. Left foot wasn't the best. And Greg was doing really well down there. In his 3rd game of footy, that was composed stuff. Got it to Max Thring. He goes inboard for Campbell. They love to use the corridor north. Campbell's got George Thring. Gets it back on the 1-2 and then thumps it towards the 50. No one at home. And reading it well back there was Jared.
Poor kick.
Jared has Lewis over the top. He can take off. He's a long kick. We know he's a good kick too. That's a beautiful kick. Just too far for Staple, but he's got the run of it and he's got time. He's got about 10 metres of space to work with, and George Thring shut him down. That was a poor kick. Thring off the left foot, that was a poor kick. Now the natural leg, the left foot of Lewis, he decides instead to go to Salter. He's a powerful boot. He covers the distance and more importantly has the accuracy. So the Eagles get their 3rd of the afternoon. They stretch that margin to 14 points.
Well, a little bit of poor play there from both sides. Ormond led up, or tried to lead up through the middle, and that's why this kick here was, even though he took a fair divot there, was smothered. George Thring on the rebound, normally so good. On his left foot there, he's coughed it straight back up. Lewis has held his composure. And the kick from Salter, his 2nd goal of the afternoon, a really good return. And we heard the Eagles coach earlier today talk about how important Salter will be, and the fact that they're down without Ainger is one of their key goal kickers so far this season.
He's virtually the 3rd tall. Michael Gordon saying he's not really a key position player now, Nick Salter, but they've got Staple down there and Fitzgerald, and he can kick it 60 metres without the wind. So that was a A chip, wasn't it, from 50 with the wind. 2 first quarter goals to him, and the Eagles start to get some value out of this win. They're out by 14 points. Now Greg slipped. He's got to be cool here. He did okay. Got it to Clinch, got it to Teasdale. Now Teely. He kicked for a leading Stewart at 3 to beat. And the Eagles have done that well. Numbers down. Borholm missed by that kick though. Amato went in. And he tried to collapse and convince the umpire to give him a free kick for in the back.
North going pretty inexperienced there at the centre bounce too, Kim. The fact that Teasdale and Greg also both going in on ball, and it'd be interesting to see how they stack up against these experienced on balls of the Eagles.
So Archie gets the free kick here. He wanted Stewart down low. The pickup was great from the big man. Handball for Amato. Now he's a skillful player. He'll lob it towards the top of the square. Again, the Eagles have got numbers back and they can rebound, or can they? The handball missed haul from Dunstan. North go in. Archer's high ball. Stewart's in great position. Just couldn't quite get there. In fact, it was Langford pursuing that footy. Now a chance. Amato, usually skillful, elects to handball to Teely. Have they done one too many? They have. And Cohen Teely should have kicked.
I definitely should have. The extra handball there was not required. Doing the team thing, the unselfish thing, but good work getting back. I think it was Jared spoiling the ball through and rushing it through for a behind. So a big let off there for the Eagles.
Eagles with a big kick into the far side. Hall can't. Yes, he does keep it in, and that only allows Ivans to get the kick away inside 50. Grafrida picks it up, then to Raymond, and then out to the left foot. Raymond was taken after he kicked the ball. It's advantage, though, still play on. Sumner pushed away from one, and now they work it down the far side. Again, they look back inside through Powell. Powell goes long. Salter perhaps the target, coming back Miles. And then off to Delwood, and then George Thring, and then Salter with a great tackle. Oh, wow, he means business. Play on to advantage, and the advantage, hopefully for Fitzgerald, is who they were looking for, but out of bounds there, 20 metres around from the goal face. That might give us a chance to go back and consider that Salter tackle. Boy.
Yeah, George Thring a little bit unaware and got heavily dumped, and a wonderful tackle by Salter. As you said, Neil, he's up and about. He's very, very keen to instill his himself on the game.
Back into congestion power where he so often is.
You're right, Mick.
Top 5 in the competition in clearances. Luke Powen, who have even more responsibility in that area, with Roundtree, who is also top 10 in clearances, out for the year. Big chance here. That is Appleton, and that is a beautiful kick. And the Eagles are starting to get rolling with this breeze now.
It's the wonderful Rovers. We'll have a look at it in a minute. It's just really, it's textbook ruck work. We know how good Parry is. He holds his position under the ball. He's obviously judging that wind a little bit better than perhaps he has in his first few bounces. He held his position there on the windward side. A little tap down, a wonderful snap on the right foot, and the Eagles getting the rewards. The kick just before that, the ball went out of bounds because of the fact the kick got taken by the wind, and Fitzgerald, even though he was running into space, wasn't able to get on the end of it. So a little bit of I guess good fortune that the ball came back through the centre, but great ruck work by Parry and a really good finish.
Really noticeable down here, boys. North Adelaide zoning off very quickly at the contest. They're getting hit on the counter-attack very fast.
Well, they've got the ball in their control and going forward at the moment. Anderson out of the middle, just hooks it around. Punch came from Raymond towards the boundary line. Eagles have the numbers there. Interesting handball by Mitchell. Not sure if he got the hand on it. Anyway, he gets the return handball eventually. Kick just overcooked a little bit with the breeze. Max Thring picks it up, just belts it back inside forward 50. Finds its way somehow to the hands of Gordon, and then off to Stewart. And he's given it to Langford, and then it opens up for Ryswick. Well, it looked for so long there like there was no plan, and yet the Roosters had a walk-in goal.
Yeah, it was really good hustle by the Roosters, but going before they had that opportunity there where they battled, it was the turnover kick from Mitchell that missed the target through the centre. Gave them the opportunity to run the ball through. Max Thring perhaps threw the ball in the boot a little bit haphazardly and could have done a bit better with the ball on the inside 50, but good composure there by the big man. The nice handball over the top, and as a running half forward, you'll take those ones every time. And he's an important goal kicker for North and a very important player, and he'd love to get on the end of one early on in this game.
He went goalless last week for the first time in 11 matches, so he's been prolific in front of the sticks this year again. 24 for the season now, and 2 into the breeze in this quarter for North. They could prove important. Time will tell how difficult they'll be to score at that end.
Michael Godden's pushed Nick Salter almost to half-back now. That's trying to expose a bit of a mismatch there and mobility with Will Dalwood.
Coaches doing battle as well as the players. So Ormond fell forward with the contact. Now it's come to Shannon going back. He's in trouble here. He had to just hurry the handball out into no one in particular, and not a bad result. In fact, there's going to be a free kick. I was about to say not a bad result for North, but Ormond's a good man to have this for the Eagles. Playing more as a half forward
Must kick it now.
this season, 9 goals on the year. He's going to lob this high, kick it to the hot spot. North are favoured by it. 4 of them went up. Eagles stay down. Salter, Staple, good tackle. And they get away with it, but 4 Roosters flying against one another.
Yeah, it was an interesting decision where to kick the ball then the hot spot. I thought he was almost going to pop it into the pocket and set up for a stoppage, but the North Adelaide boys need to talk better than that when the ball comes into their defensive 50.
A repeat stoppage now, 30 metres out, basically straight in front of the goal the Eagles are kicking to. Again, no clean possession. Chad O'Sullivan in at the base. Been a good season for Chad O'Sullivan, returned to some of his best after 106 games with Centrals, of course, making the journey across last season to play with North Adelaide. On 3 flags with Central District. And then the ball again, held in tight. Umpire will come in. North Adelaide's managed to push this maybe 10 metres further out from their defensive end. Kane was the third man up. Umpire saw holding, and it will go to Parry. So you'd think with the breeze, Parry shouldn't have any problems with the distance from here. It'll be a question of accuracy.
Kane, out of the way, please.
And we know that wind is blowing hard from his right. So you would think maybe even started on the behind post.
He'd be testing those hammies out though, Neil, because he's not as long a kick as he used to be. He's got a lot of games in those legs.
A lot of journey in those legs from Subiaco to Port Adelaide to South Adelaide and now to the Eagles. So he starts it out to the right and it's not far enough. In fact, boy, the breeze carried it right across at the Robran end out on the full.
Difficult to know where he started that ball, isn't it, from our angle, but gee, the breeze took that. I think you're right, Crossy. He needed to start that on the behind post, the right-hand behind post. So Max Thring's kick. Parry marks it. This time he elects to handball.
Not 15.
Not 15 there. Jared marks the kick. Wants his left. Ended up going to Hall. Hall went back. Now this kick is almost marked by Staple. He's going to get a free kick. And he's a good kick too. Came in from Appleton and Staple clearly held on to. Miles it was doing the holding.
And I think there's been a little bit extra there as... Not sure who it was going through. Was it Miles going through there? He's come down with the elbow on the side of Kane Mitchell's head. So the ball has also been taken up to the goal line. So Kane Mitchell was nursing a bit of a sore head there for a second. The free kick was to the Eagles and they just get the 50 or the 25 metre penalty, which takes them close to the goal and finish there. So interesting now, another one. You look at something like that, maybe a little bit of ill discipline or a lack of discipline, trying to instill his presence on the game, Big Miles, but maybe a bit of a silly one that might cost him a week or 2.
Well, he's captain today. You don't want the captain doing that.
No, we can see it here if we can, just out of screen, just to the right of screen there, as Mitchell put the tackle on post whistle. But coming down, I mean, we're not saying that he's going to get a week or 2 for it. We haven't seen it ourselves, apart from when it exactly happened, but there was something there, and they're the ones they don't like.
I didn't see it, Crossy, did you see it?
Maybe in trouble if it's captured by any camera angle. So back in the centre, released brilliantly by Powell to Parry, and now the left foot of Goldsworthy, who we haven't called this afternoon. He goes long to the square, pushing off with Salter. Legally, said the umpire, it will not be a question of distance from 25 out from Nick Salter.
Pitching wedge will make it from here.
I think he could putt it through, actually. Here's a big kick. So, time on, opening quarter. 26, 27 minutes gone. And Salter to extend the lead. And he's done it. I wouldn't say it was actually his best kick, actually, but he's done it. 27 and a half minutes in. And the Eagles have used the breeze pretty well, Ben.
They certainly have. They've gone forward, and those late 2 goals in the quarter will really hurt North Adelaide. Solder kicking his 3rd goal there. You think that's a big win for not just himself, but also for the Eagles, who's dragged Dawood up and away. And as we speak, I think Solder's going back towards the goal square, and Miles might be manning him up. But a big win so far for the Eagles, and the fact that Solder's really got on top of Dawood, dragged him up the ground, but then got his goals on the return on the way back. And you know, it's you'd expect there to be a 3 or 4 goal difference at the end of this quarter. That's the way it's looking as though it will be at the end of this first quarter, with the breeze going the way of the Eagles.
So 28 gone. North would have been happy with the quarter at the 25-minute mark. Not so much now. 25-point lead. The Eagles have got the value out of this wind, and they're going to get it again. It was Sumner. Now Appleton low down. Handball, Jarrett. They've got to be cool here through the middle. Powell. Just a slight fumble, and now North could have one last crack at it in this term. The kick came from Shannon. Gordon, we know, is such a clever player. The chipping kick was beautifully done. That was so clever from Nathan Gordon. He just willed Stewart to the space.
A really sensible kick, a good lead. It was his 2nd or 3rd lead. Got well corralled, but a great kick out into space, and certainly the side of the ground you'd like to be kicking goal on. It's left post for mine, and it should just bend a little bit through to the right.
It's a tough kick in the conditions. A big kick though. Dan Stewart. He's already got one. He comes in 3 last week. That's a mighty good attempt. That's a beautiful kick. A perfect kick in the conditions. Hung it left, and the breeze did the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Did a wonderful job there with that kick. He went back. He knew exactly what was going. We see the hold here as the ball comes in forward. The fact that Gordon got well corralled, but then managed to get on that right foot, chip it out to that pocket. It's the attacking side of the ground today, that's for sure. A wonderful kick, start on that left post, let the breeze take it, bent it back 3 or 4 metres through the middle, and couldn't have been any more central. So a really good and probably a really important goal in the context, and the fact the Eagles have just got 2 late goals in this quarter.
Shows the strength of that breeze, boys. Stewart was almost aiming to kick that out in the full to try and get it back in.
19 the margin. Favour of the side kicking with the breeze. That surely should have been recalled. The umpire said no. Shannon takes advantage of it. Inside 50, and the lead out from Stewart again, who we know has the measure of the breeze.
Keep an eye on the Eagles, boys, through the centre of the ground there. I'd say there'd be a few questions as to why that bounce wasn't recalled. Gave North a really big advantage. The ball's gone almost at right angles, and running onto the footy like that as the siren sounds. So, look, this gets North Adelaide right back into the game if he can go back and kick this.
Well, if you think 2 minutes ago you were saying with the margin 25 points to the Eagles, they'd done well with the breeze. This can bring it back to 13 points. Stewart, and he starts it wide this time, and it stays wide. Didn't quite strike it properly. So at quarter time, it is the Eagles, perhaps not by the margin they thought they'd be up. It's the Eagles 6-3-39, North Adelaide 3-3-21.
Well, a really interesting start. We knew this game was going to be tight, and with the breeze the way it was, you'd expect that the Eagles would have a 3 or 4 goal buffer, and that's exactly what they've got. They've got the 3 goal buffer. So a great finish to that quarter. It's a shootout as we expected. The Eagles in and under players been very dominant. North Adelaide's runners starting to find a bit of space, and also their big forward target in Stewart starting to get on the end of the footy at the end of that quarter.
Quarter time at Prospect, and it's the Eagles by 18 points. Eagles 9 wins and 2 losses when leading at quarter time this season. So from here, averages say you might back them. Tricky breeze this afternoon. They've made the most of it in the opening quarter. Let's go to last Saturday afternoon though. The Eagles against South Adelaide in round 19. And as we know, the Eagles are building. They've won their past 2 in a row. They won this one. As it turns out, they won it easily.
Interestingly enough, Neil, both of these teams have lost to Sturt in the last 3 weeks. So the Eagles lost to them 2 weeks before this in their last loss, and also then last week we saw North Adelaide go down to Sturt, so maybe Sturt have got on top of both of them. But the Eagles coming to this game have had two, I guess, softer wins. They've played both South Adelaide last week in this game and Glenelg the week before that. So coming in with good form, absolutely, and winning convincingly here against South Adelaide. But today's really the challenge for them against North Adelaide.
Led at quarter time in this match by 13 points. It was 24 points at half-time, 34 at three-quarter time. They kicked 6 goals straight to 2 behinds in the last quarter.
Yeah, they finished out very strongly, and by that stage, certainly South Adelaide had probably just about shut up shop and given the game away. But there's a few changes today that we see from this side. No Ainger, no Heath, no Roundtree. So, it'd be interesting to see if the run they got out of this game, the confidence they take out of their last 2 wins, can also rub off on them when they're coming up against a stronger opposition.
The other thing to take note of, I thought, in this game, as I looked at the efficiency of the Eagles, they had 307 possessions versus South's 324. They had only the 101 marks versus 123, and yet they came away with a 68-point victory.
Yeah, they're not a high possession, they don't play a high possession brand of football, the Eagles. They're very good in and under, so they've obviously won the contest, won the clearances, and therefore had more scoring shots going forward.
The other clash we're going to have a look at now is Port Adelaide against Centrals last Sunday afternoon down at Alberton, and this win for Centrals really secures 5th place, I think.
It's a really important win for them. We know that 5th place, we spoke to Seamus Maloney after last week's game, and he said, look, we're just taking 1 week at a time. We're just trying to be the best side out of the finals, but if there's a chance, we'll take it. And it seems as though maybe Central Districts have shut the gate now by winning this game against Port. Again, Port have been up and down all throughout the season. What they have got better at as the season's gone by is defending. Their defence has got a lot better. They're starting to kick a few scores, and they're starting to have a few victories, and they're certainly a very dangerous opposition. So a game that Centrals would have penciled in as probably a win earlier in the year, but at this present time, going to last week's game, they would have known it's a danger game for them, but also put a lot of relevance and importance on that win, and they certainly came away with the cookies.
A little bit of great mark by Sam Gray there, climbing over the top of the pack his opponent, for a goal. And at quarter time, though, a little bit of a seesaw game. It was 26 points to Centrals at quarter time. Only 3 points they led by at half time, and then they were out with a 7-goal to zip third quarter by 44 points at three-quarter time, and then got across the line by 46 points. So they did what they had to do, and they are looking a little bit more organised, shall we say, than earlier in the season.
Yeah, certainly. They're definitely playing a better brand of football. Ken McGregor's been really happy with their central part of the season, so whilst they're getting better, Central Districts a really good win last week.
Let's go down to Chris Kendall, who's been listening to the Eagles huddle.
Biggest message from Michael Godden is play to the football and not play to the wind. Don't let the wind do all the work for you, and make sure that you still get yourself to the contest as well. Really happy with Nick Solder's work in trying to isolate Dalwood there as well. Just wants them to be a little bit careful on the overlap. Felt they were a little bit cute with the handball at times, and also try to keep the ball away from the fat side of the ground where they can, but otherwise pretty happy with the start.
Thanks for that, Chris. Michael Godden heading off the ground now. Yeah, it just depends. I mean, it's one of those days when you look at half-time and say, well, this is where the game's heading, not at quarter time.
Yeah, definitely. I think he'd be disappointed giving those couple of goals up late in that quarter. He would have taken the 4-goal win, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Let's go down to Josh Franco with Chris.
Josh, took a little bit of time to adjust to going against the breeze in the first 20 minutes. You felt you found your way a bit in the last 7 to 8?
Yeah, look, I thought we did, but I guess the alarming thing for me at the moment, the stats that we were taking as far as the tackle count goes, I think it was 15-7 against, so we've got to get that urgency around the footy back, because as soon as we do that, we actually start to get first use and look dangerous inside 50.
You feel there's been a couple of times you've zoned off a little bit quickly, waiting for the error and moving yourself into space and then into problems?
Yeah, look, that's probably a fair call, and we've addressed that at quarter time.
Thanks, Josh.
Mr. Josh Franco there. Fascinating second quarter coming up now. Here's Kim Morgan.
Thanks, Neil. So it's 18 points the advantage to the Eagles, but North now to kick with this breeze. So huge quarter in the context of the game to come. Gordon slid in there hard, and they will get the first clearance to the Roosters. It was Shannon who got it from Anderson. Now Stuart Lowdown did some heavy work. Handball they coughed up. Mitchell. And something going on behind the play. Advantage was played, and Allman took that. See that footy hold up into the breeze. Luke Owens has now donned that helmet. He didn't have that on earlier in the foreground. And his teammate will get a free kick.
I reckon he's keeping the ears warm, Kim.
Tell you what, you need something to keep the ears warm. It's certainly a winter's day here at Prospect, but Keller he got the free kick. Plays game number 50 next week. becoming a real regular. Goes to Stewart. That was a good mark again. He's proving a handful. He went to a one-on-one at true centre half forward. Big one-on-one. Gafrida got the better of Langford, did well. Raymond, who's been in terrific form, that kick wasn't his best. Ryswick with speed. If he'd taken that cleanly, which was a tough ask, he was away, couldn't quite. Then a heavy tackle laid and there's a turnover, and Jared goes to Kane.
Wide they go. And inside Dunstan with the kick wasn't good. Picked off by George Thring. This side of the ground, a couple available. The kick holds up just a bit. Eagles do pretty well. Turn it over. Goldsworthy on his left foot. He goes into a bit of space. The ball should come back. Fitzgerald couldn't block it. And eventually over the line. Dalwood has changed his Guernsey at quarter time as well. Gone from the long sleeves to the sleeveless there.
Been run around a bit by Solder in that first quarter, I'd assume, so maybe he's sweating up a bit in the long sleeves.
Ball to be thrown in just inside the attacking 50 for the Eagles. To the back, Goldsworthy, non-preferred, right foot, and astray and wide, but down there he had his target. Staple tried to soccer it back towards the goal face. That'll be too high, and now it'll be play on advantage in favour of North. And a turnover, a shocking turnover, and an opportunity for the Eagles to get a goal early in this second term.
Well, it's just what the Eagles would like to start the quarter out, but as you said, Neil, a shocking turnover on the way out, and if you're going to be pretty and cute with the ball on a day like this, then there's something wrong. It should be a long release out onto the wing.
So Luke Dunstan, who's wearing a mattress on his left thigh, comes in and sets it up a bit. He was nowhere going to make the distance there. Ball comes to the front. Clinch does very well, breaks away, and so do North Adelaide.
The kick will go to a 2-on-1 though. Mark juggled out there, not completed. Dunstan again, sharing it with Gafrida. Now this kick goes inside the 50. North had numbers. Max Thring's kick. Langford did well, worked his way to the front. Bit going on off the footy too. Certainly some feeling at second v third, a lot on the line. Great mark low down here. Splendid mark by Stewart, who is having a big day.
A couple of little fellas going at it there, Kim and Mitchell and Teely having a crack at each other.
In the welterweight division. So the kick here. The Eagles had the numbers. It was Gafrida who got a spoil to Powell, and then his kick. And that just shows you the breeze. It wasn't the best kick, but it got hoisted out of bounds, and Max Thring will take the free kick.
Play on! Play on!
Thring looks inside, and then, well, talking of bad kicks, there's one. Straight up in the air. Craig with a punch, did pretty well towards the boundary line. First over there, Langford. Langford chips it over the top to the path of Ryswick. Ryswick had Teasdale available inside, chose to go with a quick kick. Only found Ellis Yeoman, who comes across goal to Mitchell. Mitchell's off and running. At centre wing, he had Goldsworthy for him, and Goldsworthy traps it very well down the line with the kick. I think it'll go out of bounds. And yes, it does eventually. Nick Salter with a push off there. 3 goals for the afternoon in the opening quarter. Luke Powell coming to the bench.
Nita, thank you.
So in it comes. Goal early for the Eagles would be massive here into the win. Norman might have got one high, umpire letting it go. So Max Thring's kick. Archer did well to win it. The big fella, the former Saint. Handball, wanted the speed of Ryswick, but the tackle was good. Had to just handball into dispute. Going back and winning it for the Eagles was Von Perto. And now Batley, who's a speedster, former sprinter. Took 2 bounces, got out towards centre wing. Kick towards half forward. Fitzgerald, it was leading in the race, got a handball inboard for Hall, and then a high ball. Staple, couldn't quite. Max Thring again, handball, chain of handballs, and they'll come away the Roosters.
Clinch and then Amato, and then now George Thring. Now he goes looking for Gordon. Gee, he did well to take that. He was under a lot of pressure from Raymond. Now he's called the play on. Ran himself around in circles and then eventually found Chad O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan over the top, and the mark taken by Cohen Teely. So Teely over there is a left footer, but strangely enough, the wind actually might help him, because on the natural left footer's arc, he'd started on the right goalpost, which with the breeze, Ben,
would be dead straight.
Well,
is that what you're saying?
Well, eventually it would be dead straight.
Middle of the goals.
He's decided to go short.
Replace your divots, son.
Out come the Eagles. Ellis Yeoman, powerhouse, trying to get through. Now Mitchell. Now Lewis. Finally out the back. And they get it away just outside the defensive 50. Mitchell, rather coming across there was Campbell taking it over the line.
Interestingly enough, the Eagles have tried to go forward 3 times this quarter already, and every single time they've come out on this near side, this grandstand side, using the shelter of the breeze. So maybe something that Mickey Godden said at quarter time.
Giants here, Roosters, Shannon. Now this is a good side to attack from for North, though. The kick is going to go all the way and just fade on that breeze at the last moment.
That's exactly the danger, though, isn't it? If they come out this side, they cough it out or cough it up on this quarter, this half-quarter side, then they know the ball's coming straight back in at the face of goal.
Parry with some room. Pretty good kick, nailed it to Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald the half-forward. Runner there was Dunstan, and it just went too far for him. Thring, with a strong body, pushed him off. That's George Thring. Back the other way, Langford. Langford looks down to half-forward. Chad O'Sullivan just got his man. Turned him. Now O'Sullivan. Oh, he's run out of room, has he? No, got the kick away. Just a tumble punt, hoping for the best. Raymond read it first and takes the mark for the Eagles. They are trying to punch it out this side. Here they come to Hall. Ellis Yeoman flanking him. Hall gets away, uses the foil of Ellis Yeoman. Down the line he goes. Greg does well. He'll want his left leg. And over the top, just a delicate little chip. Boy, Gordon's been prominent. Down to half forward he goes. Archer, and coming late, knocking it away, Gafrida.
It's a great fist, so the Eagles haven't conceded in 7.5 minutes. And that lead that they had at quarter time only trimmed by 1 point. It was 18 at the first break, 17 now. Great bit of vision there from Craig, or understanding at least with Amato. He went back in board. Shannon tied ball. Truth enough, he got rid of it according to the umpire. And Scotty Lewis, well, maybe a touch late. The umpire saw it that way.
Only a touch. It's a big penalty, isn't it, though? Right to the face of goal. A fantastic shepherd there for Joey Anderson, though, allowing the space and the kick. But look, it is only just a touch late, if anything.
And O'Sullivan doesn't miss. 19 for the season for him. As Crossy said in the first quarter, he's been a great recruit. And they get that goal back to 11 points.
He played a wonderful first quarter or first half last week, O'Sullivan. We saw how dangerous he was. He turned the Sturt defenders last week and ran back close to goal. A wonderful little check side kick, but it's a good return. He's a bit lucky to get on the end of that one. Perhaps Lewis marginally late, but a big penalty. But exactly what North Adelaide need, and the Eagles, who have, as you said, Kim, done so well, just restricting the scoring in this first 10 minutes of this quarter. Unlucky perhaps to give that one away.
The Eagles are trying to rotate Batley and Mitchell at the moment off Gordon. Slight problem is he's getting away from both of them.
Back in the middle. They force the ball forward. Craig with a good hand pass. Max Thring closing to 40 metres. Controlled the kick pretty well.
A wonderful kick. A great run from the centre. Really good link of hands, and the clearance again so important for both of these sides. A really good hit on Lewis there to release the football. The handball out, and once Max Thring gets his eyes on goals, he likes a goal more than anyone I've ever met. Maxie Thring, and he is a good finisher. Whilst he's been a bit untidy with some of his disposals so far today around the ground, as you see there, he's puffed the cheeks out. He doesn't have much else to puff out. A little bit of stubble there on the young man, and he's trying to be an older man, an older man in a little boy's body, but he's playing great footy this year. A wonderful finish, and very, very important so far in this game. He's got a lot of footy down back for North Adelaide too, so Eagles need to man up on him a little bit tighter.
So they get one straight out of the middle North. The midfielders have dried up in terms of goals, and they'll hope that can start a bit of an avalanche of them. Thring, who hadn't kicked one for 2 weeks, kicked 10 in the 4 before that. Now Salter, he's been so instrumental. Speaking of goals, he's got 3. The high ball to a dangerous spot. Greg, who's a likely looking type, read that one well. Got it to Campbell. Now Campbell's usually a good user. They get 2 ahead of the ball here, North Adelaide. Miles took the mark. Elected to share it with the speed of Ryswick, who couldn't quite run in a straight line. He's had to come back on his right. The kick missed its intended target, but it's still awkward for the defenders. Well done, Raymond. Got it to Ellis Yeoman, and his kick Wanted Scott Lewis, couldn't get him. Anderson now taking the footy. Ren parted at Anderson, then thumped high. Gordon, Stewart. Good spoil by Ellis Yeoman. O'Sullivan, that's where he's so good down low. The handball missing the target, and Goldsworthy will relief.
Oh, and Mitchell slipped over at the most inopportune time. Let his North Adelaide opponent Ryswick in, but he ran out of room, fortuitously, you would say.
Yeah, very lucky there. Goldsworthy's been very important for the Eagles so far today, also throughout the season. Max String's trying to do the job on him early.
Borholm goes at it. Great tap down. Chris Hall taken to ground straight away. Umpire lets it go on. James Craig at the bottom there. Craig gets up. He pressed out of the centre before when they scored that goal through Max String. It was Craig, the ruckman, who followed up with a hand pass. So here's the ball wide. And Campbell just had the ball knocked out of his hands and will get a throw in. So 11.5 second term and a 5-point lead for the Eagles after they led by 18 points at quarter time. Remembering there's a fair old breeze blowing to right of screen.
If you were framing a market, there'd be a good chance to lead at the half-time break, the Roosters, but they've still got to get there. So Mitchell hammering this ball out. Staple did well. Just crashed that pack, cleared a path, did he, for Salter. This kick was beautifully weighted, not quite beautifully weighted. The breeze too strong and Fitzgerald couldn't quite run onto it. The defender down there in Darwood did a good job. He got it over the boundary line.
It was a very good clearance, and again, unlucky the ball wasn't kicked further into space because he had the run. He turned Darwood under the football. There was no one between the ball and the goals, but the kick just held up in the breeze, and Darwood did very well to clear the ball out.
Borholm had taken clean possession, then he got it to Hall. And ball back into a congestion. So 12.5 gone.
Thanks, James.
Second term, second v third. So much riding on this, and we've got a great contest for the moment. Miles' ruck work was good there. Having to handball it back into congestion was Ryswick. Well done by Allman to get it loose. Now Batley sitting it on top of the head of Dunstan, and Thring happy to see that ball over the boundary line.
It's a very interesting stage, this game. You'd think that with the win, maybe North Adelaide can pick up a goal or two in this quarter, but it's going to be so important for the Eagles to hang tough, and if we go in half-time, all scores level, well, we're back to square one, and it's exactly where we thought this contest would be.
Craig to the front, did well. Amato with a bit of run, wants a handball target. Inside he goes to Anderson, diagonally across the square to centre forward. From behind, nice mark taken by Jarrett. It just sat up on Teasdale.
Watched Teasdale a little bit last week in the twos. He's come into the side this week. He was very good last week at getting his hands on the footy and getting the in and under, but I don't think he's even had a touch yet today. So the young man needs to get his hands on the footy.
Oh, Ellis Yeoman, if you don't mind the in and out, then I don't know the hand pass was the right opportunity there, but it'll be a free kick for in the back going to Chris Kane. So Kane saw his brother Ben in action last week, took the mark of the day for the Double Blues. Here's Mitchell inside 50, just a hit and hope. Salter couldn't take it. Pressure on Goldsworthy now to ground. Umpire will come in and ball it up, maybe 30 metres out from the attacking goal for the Eagles.
Be interesting to see in this stoppage how the Eagles set up. They really want to trap the ball in. If they can't get a scoring shot from this, they want to hold the ball there and make sure they release someone.
Haven't been able to kick one yet in this term, the Eagles. That one in tight.
Knightsy, the loose man they're trying to isolate at the moment, the Eagles, is Sumner through the centre square on the turnover.
So Borholm, that's a clever tap, tried to put it into a dangerous position. Here the umpire saying Lewis made the attempt, ends up back with Lewis, and another stoppage. So game just tightening up for the moment. So we have a look at other grounds, and it's a big game out at Elizabeth today. The Bloods by 3 points at the moment. So Allman can be a dangerous kick, but that's not his best, and that breeze that we've talked about all day, blowing that footy long and wide.
So it'll be Gregg, the left footer for North Adelaide, to take the resulting free kick. Just 10 metres around from his defensive goal. He goes long. Clinch was maybe the target, but he couldn't stretch over the top of Fitzgerald. So he waits. Remember, they're kicking into the breeze. Called a play on by the umpire. It's a quick hurry up for an SANFL game. 25 out from goal. He hits the pack, comes to the front. Dunstan off the left foot and just the wrong side of the post with a bounce.
It's a bit of an interesting choice by the North Adelaide defenders, then kicking to the far side of the ground. They had the cross on, they had 2-on-1 in the outnumber on this side, but again attacking on that far wing. So maybe again, feedback came from Josh Franco to attack along that side of the ground.
Teely went for Anderson. Spoiled away from him. You can see why Dunstan is dangerous around the goals, can't you? He's unlucky then. Just didn't quite get that Angus Mon for his bounce that he wanted. So interesting stage in the game. It's just at a momentary lull, but very tight. So North get it away here. Shannon went in board for Ryswick. Doward it is providing some run. He had 17 touches last week. Doward would just about have been a career high. He goes for Gordon. He's got so much speed. There's a real handful down there. Did he get a free kick? He didn't. Crowd wanted it. And you must be nervous as a defender when you won out with him at the ground.
He's been very, very good and probably the right call there. It was, I don't know, if it was a little clip of ankles and he went down pretty easily, but the right call by the umpires.
Parry's hit, Shannon. Great working tight by the Eagles. Dunstan was involved. They get it loose. Also involved was Orman. Jarrett it is with the left. Kicks for Salter. Ground level ball. Can any of the Rovers swoop on it? Salter had to do his own roving. But North have numbers. Miles handball. And they get the boundary line. You hear some ironic calls for deliberate after the decision in the first quarter.
Seventeen and a half minutes into the second term. 17 and a half minutes with the breeze for the North Adelaide side. They have made some impact. Player down injured there in the middle of the pack as Hall kicks it forward for the Eagles. And ball, funny old bounce. Neither of the players able to get in. Finally, Salter, bottom of the pack. Umpire will call for the ball up.
I think it was Parry there, boys, who just running past Campbell threw the little right arm out and maybe gave him one through the midriff or maybe a little bit higher, and we see Campbell coming to the bench, maybe a little bit of blood coming. Chris will keep an eye on that one.
He caught him around the jaw, as a matter of fact, Nida, and he's moving his mouth up and down a little bit with that one.
I was just being a little bit kind to Craig Parry there. We know his history, Chris, so we're just in the back of the play there and it has been captured on camera, so there's a bit of a height difference, but we see what happened in the first place. Perhaps Parry got one a little bit high and remonstrated with what wasn't an elbow in the end. It was a bit more of a forearm.
Not much in it. So Mitchell, Hall. Eagles have again eaten up clock. North's 2 goals in this quarter came within the space of 30 seconds at around the 8-minute mark, and either side the Eagles have done pretty well.
Not overly happy down there, Campbell.
Parry, the man he's not happy with, took clean possession and a recall throw-in. So that's the second set of those today. It's a tough job for the boundary umpire there, though.
Especially for this man. He's not the most powerfully built young man going around, and it's going to need every bit of his effort.
He's earning his money. And free kick plucked out. It'll go Appleton's way.
So he was held on to. Now the little chip over the top, and Luke Powell was crouched over with his hands on his knees like he was trying to hide there, successfully so. Now he goes off to the long kick of Lewis, who punches the ball low, and the wind just got the wrong end of that ball. It toppled, and Dalwood taking the mark. Now to Gordon. Gordon wasn't happy with the kick, that's why he's ended up with a cork out of that. I think he's gone down. Teasdale does well. George Thring down behind play still is Gordon. And he got the knee of Jarrett in his hip, I think. And down goes Stewart as well. Mitchell does well, just handballs the ball forward. Picked up by the ruckman. Craig showing great agility. Down the line he goes looking for Archer. 2 against 1. Archer does pretty well. Foot to the ball. Applause from the crowd. Ryswick runs onto it. He'll have to snap at goal. Instead he's taken the tackle and gone to the boundary line, and the umpire says that's okay. Gordon slow up behind the play, and Ryswick meanwhile realises from Byron Sumner there's actually a bit of heat in this game.
As there should be, boys. This is second v3, a spot in the final 3 on the line, so putting everything on the line here today.
We're into time on, second term. Craig came out somehow. Max Thring, they're trying to prize it free North. Lewis going the other
Well
way.
done.
Did well to carve the path out of that one, and then he hoiks it towards centre wing. Good result, Eagles.
Oh, Lewis, that's a better kick. He would have liked that one when he was having a shot on goal about 30 seconds ago. But the Eagles, look, they just haven't got the result from those couple of inside 50s. They've battled hard, but they've done well also to restrict North scoring. So on a knife edge this game.
So 9 goal first term, only 2 in this term. Different style of footy, a lot more stoppages. Thring, he's got a lot of attention, did well. Don't know if he intended to find Archer, but just to get a boot to it.
That's drawing a long bow, Kim.
He was on target, bullseye. He went inboard, Ryswick. Right in the middle of prospect, goes for Campbell. He can go back to Ryswick. Handball sloppy. They'll still have time to get it though. Ryswick prizes it up. 70 out, kick. Just didn't get over the back where Teely was waiting, and Ellis Yeoman did well.
Comes to this side of the ground with the bounce, dangerous. Archer came to him, got it away. Mitchell. And Mitchell too wide with a kick. And that's kicking into the breeze across to this side of the ground. So George Thring, both the Thring boys with the long sleeves today, sends it along. Big pack forms, comes to the front. Mitchell was there, bounce was awkward. And now we'll get a ball up.
It was 3-on-1 when Mitchell's running out there, and saw Goldsworthy as the one between the 3 North Adelaide players, and maybe the out of bounds was the option.
Parry down to Lewis, just got a foot to the ball. Amato tried to push off. Mitchell got him high. And Kane Mitchell's found out a few times today that it's a bit tough in the SANFL, maybe compared to the WAFL where he won the Sandover medal last season.
Yeah, he's obviously got a very big engine for a small man, and it certainly is a lot more in close and in tight, smaller grounds here in SA. The WAFL grounds a lot larger.
Nick Amato, 27 possessions last week against the Double Blues, and that time with the left foot hook through for the minor score.
Nathan Gordon copped it to the kidneys in that contest, boys. He's okay at the moment. He just wants to be left in peace by the trainers for a couple of minutes.
Just had to wait, didn't he? And Jared was who flew over the back. So Sumner's kick for Batley. Can break lines, Batley, but on this occasion marking back pocket. 40-35. So they've made inroads north, 13 points, despite only being able to kick the 2 goals in this term. Ellis Yeoman's kick, that's a perfect kick for Jared.
He's got to hold on to the footy here, the Eagles. Milk the clock.
Jared's been good today. Kick over the back. Dunstan perhaps should have impacted that contest. Left it a bit long. Dowwood goes into the middle. Showed a lot of it to Goldsworthy. He came over with the spoil. Powell immediately dives in. And again, a potential attacking thrust there for North. Doesn't come off, and we get another stoppage in the middle.
We've said it so many times, but gee, Powell and Lewis are so important to the Eagles, getting in and under and holding onto that footy.
Craig with a great backhand to put it into the path of Ryswick, who cut back inside, then the low pass looking for Langford through the hands. Chad O'Sullivan was brilliant, and Shannon lines up for goal and has kicked it. What great hands from O'Sullivan at the base of the pack there.
He's such a clever footballer, Chad O'Sullivan. A wonderful little dish, a wonderful little handball out. But this kick was excellent. Ryswick turned back inboard, got the ball across the face of the goal to the fat side, top of the 50. A quick hands up from O'Sullivan, a wonderful little handball. The falling handball, the quick take and the give on the way up. And a great finish by Shannon. Put it on the breeze, right-hand post, ran it through, 1 point ball game. Perhaps 1 point going to half-time. Exactly what we're after today. A clash of 2 very strong sides, both punching for a top 3 finish.
So North are in front, first time today. Courtesy of some brilliance there, wasn't it, from the ex-dog in O'Sullivan. Hit down. Powell got one high. It's a typical Luke Powell piece of play, the way he dived in, won the footy. Jared, 1-2 with Powell. Now Salter's a good man to have it. Beautiful low kick. Chris Kane played on quickly. Now Batley. Kick wasn't great. Wanted Salter, or rather Staple, who did well to keep it alive for a moment, but then it's always going to be tough to hook that footy round, so it goes out on the full.
Such a poor kick going in then. Really need to bring it back to the top of the square, push it across in that breeze. Give his crummers a crack at it, even if the Tools can't grab a hold of it.
So a big couple of minutes. There won't be long to go on this term, but Eagles need to hold up. They don't deserve to go in a couple of goals down. As Doward went to clinch. Clinch back for Shannon, the last goal kicker, then a high ball. They've been good in the air today, the Roosters. The spoil came on that occasion. Raymond, kick smothered. Back into that pack, and again it's Powell. You can see why he's right at the top of the league in handball and rather clearances and tackles. He's been so in and under today.
He's been so good in his second quarter as well, Powell. We all understand he's lost a bit of run in the legs and he doesn't have that speed that he perhaps used to, even though he's never the quickest player, but you'd take him in your team every day.
6 tackles, 5.6 clearances is the average. Shannon now to Amato. Can they score before the siren? North Adelaide, they lead by a point. Away to the speed of Campbell, and he takes off. He might even be able to go all the way, but he doesn't. He goes on a low pass. It was touched. And that's why Sumner played on to Mitchell and now Borholm. And they clear their area through Batley and then Appleton. Borholm again, and then out to centre wing he goes to a one-on-one contest, which quickly becomes a pack. And that will do us for the first half of action in this match. North Adelaide second on the ladder against the Eagles third, and at half-time just 1 point separates the sides. It's North Adelaide 6-5-41, the Eagles 6-4-40.
Well, a wonderful first half of football. The Eagles got the break in that first quarter. Those 2 goals are really important in red time for North Adelaide, and then that quarter was just a tussle. It was an arm wrestle. The Eagles didn't kick a goal. North Adelaide only managed a couple, but the game, 1 point the difference at half-time. It's exactly where we wanted it. A great contest, just what the SANFL need. And in terms of the North Adelaide ball winners, look, they've started to get their hands on the football. They've been good coming off half-back. The Eagles have been so well serviced by Lewis and Powell in that quarter. It sets itself up for a wonderful second half. Really looking forward to it. And it's been a great first quarter, so hopefully it's exactly the same in that second half.
So they've had a quarter each with a strong breeze to the right of screen, and it's North Adelaide by just a 1 point at half-time. So nothing much in it, just a 1 point at half-time to the home side, the Roosters, and that's our round 20 match of the day in the SANFL on Grandstand. Let's go back though to round 19 and the under-18s.
The round got underway Friday night at Elizabeth Oval when Central District took on Port Adelaide. The Bulldogs were good early. They put in an encouraging 2.5 quarters, but had a young, inexperienced side and couldn't match the intensity of the Magpies late in the game. For Port Adelaide, best on ground was James Dealey-Godfrey. James worked hard early in the season to get into the side and has put in the effort each week to stay there. He's a quick left footer who runs hard and is not scared of a contest. James played on the wing and had 26 disposals and 5 marks. The 17-year-old is from Rosewater Football Club. Travis McIntyre is an in and under midfielder who took on the opposition with 11 tackles for the game. The Magpies then won possession from the resulting ball up. Travis is from Salisbury West, and the 17-year-old had 20 disposals and kicked 2 goals in the third quarter. The Magpies have invited 8 players from the country zone to play this season. Justin Mills is a 17-year-old who travelled from the Eyre Peninsula to compete in round 19. He played at half forward and also spent some time on the wing. Justin had a good game considering he hadn't trained with the team, and he kept the pressure on up forward. The left footer scored a goal early in the fourth quarter and had 22 possessions. Best on ground for the Bulldogs was Bradley Bain. Bradley's been playing well in the reserves and was unlucky to come back to the 18s for round 19. The 17-year-old from the Barossa country zone played in the centre for most of the night. He's a good leader around the ground and he had 33 disposals and 9 marks. Brendan Dew is the captain of the Bulldogs under-16s and was also in the state under-16 squad. Last week was his 4th game for the under-18s. Brendan played on the wing and found plenty of the footy. He had 23 disposals and 6 marks and was also very good defensively. He's from the Barossa and his home club is Tea Tree Gully. Also in his first year with the under-18s, Joshua Banks played at half forward and on the wing for the Bulldogs. On Saturday he demonstrated some nice skills and worked hard in defence. Josh kicked a goal early in the third quarter. The Bulldogs opened the scoring for the game, kicking the first 2 goals, and they were 9 points up 10 minutes into the third quarter, but the Magpies piled on the goals late to win the game by 36 points. North Adelaide took on the Double Blues at home, and with a young, inexperienced side, they put in a good team performance. Best on ground for the Roosters was overager Kane Bowley. Kane's come through the junior system at North Adelaide and played 4 games for the reserves in 2012. He worked hard all day in the midfield and stood up when the team needed him. He had 31 disposals and 5 marks. Joshua Popke played fullback last year for North Adelaide, and this season he's playing in the midfield. On Saturday, he read the ball well and had 25 disposals and 5 marks. Josh is also developing his skills in defence with 7 tackles for the game. He was part of the state under-18 squad, and if he keeps playing like he is, he's well on track to make the squad again next season. He's been fighting for a spot in the side this year, but on Saturday, 17-year-old James Barron played on the halfback flank and put in a solid performance. He mopped up down the ground, making space and taking some strong marks. It was his best game for the season, and he's on target to play in the finals. Best on ground for Sturt was 17-year-old James Hargraves, who played on ball and across half forward. He's a first-year under-18 who put in a solid effort for his team with 40 disposals and 7 marks. His disposal count was the highest for the game. In his first season in the under-18s, Henry Carey is a consistent player for the Double Blues. The 17-year-old from Unley High has good kicking ability, good balance and vision, and is strong overhead. Henry kicked 2 goals too for the game. Dominating in the ruck for Sturt with 23 hitouts was Sam Ferraro. Sam comes from a basketball background and is in his first year for the under-18s. Last week was his 4th game. He's in good form, with conditions on the weekends suiting his size. The Double Blues are still fighting for a top 5 spot. They took some hard knocks on the weekend, but have a week off to regroup. North Adelaide ran out winners by 62 points. Down south, the Panthers took on the Eagles at home, and even though they kicked the first 2 goals for the game, they were thoroughly beaten by the visitors. The Eagles forward Jackson Press is the round 19 Maccas Cup MVP nominee. Dividing his time between attack and the midfield, Press collected 27 disposals, 12 marks and 6 inside 50s, and he also booted 8 goals against South Adelaide. Midway through the 4th quarter, Jackson got a centre clearance and with run kicked a goal from outside 50. It was undoubtedly Jackson's best game for the Eagles this season. He's a quick, smart footballer who challenges the opposition and takes his chances. Albert Dunstan was brought back from the reserves of the Eagles last week so he could qualify for the finals. He's been playing well in the reserves and transferred that form to the under-18s on Saturday. Playing at half forward, Albie led up the ground well all day and was rewarded for his hard work, kicking 5 goals won for the game. The 18-year-old had a game-high 32 disposals, 16 marks and 12 entries inside 50. He's from Udunda. Playing at half forward and in the ruck for the Eagles was Tasman Fitzgerald. Tasman and Tom Whittlesey were outstanding up forward, leading all day. Tasman kicked 3 goals straight for the game and had 22 disposals and 19 hitouts. He's from Kyan Cutter on the Eyre Peninsula and boards at Ross Trevor College. He was out last week due to injury and missed by the Eagles, but in round 19, Sam Lodge made up for the week off. He's a first-year under-18 who's strong in a contest in the midfield and also damaging up forward. The 17-year-old's from Ardrossan. He kicked 2 goals for the game and also had 22 disposals and 10 marks. In his first season for the under-18s, Sam Hamilton's come through the Panthers development squad. Sam played well defensively, getting the ball out at the stoppages and creating opportunities up forward. He took the ball inside 50 7 times, but the Panthers failed to capitalise. Also in his first season for the Panthers, Lockie Hartshorn put in a good effort to clear the ball around the stoppages and to get it forward. The 18-year-old from Sacred Heart College is a reliable player with a long kick and a higher work rate. South Adelaide's Peter Steff won the hitouts for the game in the centre and around the ground with a total of 25. He's in his 3rd season with the under-18s. South tried hard all day and was good early in most of the quarters, but there wasn't an even contribution across the board. The Eagles won by a whopping 122 points.
One of, well, relatively big blowouts, not quite with the Port game where they won by 36 points, but certainly North very comfortable by 10 goals and the Eagles, as we know, there by 20 goals. So Glenelg, Norwood and West having the bye in the under-18 competition last weekend. Onto the ladder, and it looks like this with North, the Eagles, Norwood, Port and Glenelg making up the top 5. It's still tight there though between the Bays and the Double Blues for the opportunity to play in the finals at this stage of the season. So the closing rounds will be very interesting in the under-18 competition. Closing rounds also across in the VFL and the WAFL. Let's start with what happened in the VFL last weekend, round 17.
With 3 weeks until finals, every game is a must-win. Victory to Box Hill would cement their place as a force in September, but they would have to put away Essendon, who were coming off 4 wins and were desperate to keep their finals chances alive. Things started well for the visitors with a strong goal to Joe Danaher within the first 2 minutes of the game. However, the Hawks would soon take advantage of Bomber errors, and with great skill across the ground, they took control. With intense pressure in the second term, Box Hill continued their charge. The Bombers were goalless for the quarter as the home side piled on the Majors to take a 38-point lead into the main break. The Hawks' dominance bled into the second half as they booted their 8th unanswered goal.
And maybe it's just about time to celebrate now.
The Bombers were only able to put a stop to the onslaught when Danaher went back to basics before the final break to get his and the team's second major. Essendon doubled their score in the last to give their fans something to cheer about, but couldn't stem the flow of the Hawks. The home side continued their assault on the scoreboard to give them a dominating victory.
That man Custer's roving, and he's very dangerous in that situation.
It was a commanding 72-point victory for Box Hill, and they reclaimed second place on the ladder. Dalton Graham finished with 4, while Kyle Cheney, Sam Isles and Luke Loudon were best on for the home side. In other games, Northern Blues kept their season alive with an 18-point win over Sandringham. Coburg ran away from Bendigo Gold. Werribee were again dominant over Port Melbourne. Geelong sent out another warning with a 49-point win over second-place Williamstown. North Ballarat held out the Magpies in a thriller. And Casey rallied to put an end to Frankston's finals hopes. It's the business end of the season, all right, and a tight battle is underway in the top 4, with the Hawks, Casey and Williamstown all vying for second place. Meanwhile, victories for the Northern Blues and North Ballarat put them inside the 8. Perth took their home game north to Moora, looking to bounce back after falling out of the top 4. They would first have to overcome a West Perth side in super form and looking to cement second place on the ladder. Despite kicking against the wind, the Falcons managed 2 quick goals in the early minutes. Perth fought back and a diving marking goal from Kyle Reimers levelled the scores, while Matthew Moody put them in front before quarter time.
He struck it pretty well. He struck it magnificently. Never in doubt.
The visitors turned it on in the second, impressing with superb teamwork.
Beautiful ruck work by Chris Coonan. Gets it down to Matt Gwadden on the run.
A fantastic running goal from Reimers delighted the crowd, but their joy was short-lived as the Falcons booted 9 goals to 3 to take a healthy lead into the main break. A big effort was needed for Perth in the third, but inaccuracy in front of goal cost them. Up the other end, the Falcons wasted no chances, kicking truly and taking a 38-point lead into the final break. The home side managed only 5 minors for the last quarter, while everything went right for West Perth. It was a dominating performance and the Falcons never let up.
Millington will go onto his favourite left and make them pay.
West Perth came away easy winners by 60 points, with the Demons managing only 10 behinds in the second half. Matt Fowler was dominant with 5 goals, while Matt Gwadden and Shane Nelson were also in the best. Across town, East Perth had a big win over Subiaco, and Swan Districts were 6-point winners over a gallant Peel Thunder. The win solidifies West Perth's place in second spot. Swan Districts and East Perth moved into the top 4, while Perth will have to work hard if they're to have any chance of making the finals for the first time since '97.
So just a reminder there, again, of all the ABC footy around the country. I should let you do this, Ben, because it just goes on, doesn't it, week after week. VFL, the SANFL and the WAFL look forward to Thursday mornings for the SANFL coverage. Okay, right now we'll go down to Chris Kendall, and Chris, Eagles very good in the clearances.
They certainly are. We know that's one of the strengths of any team coached by Michael Godden. They've been very good again today in that side of things, and it's been a lot of the usual suspects, boys, that we've come to know and expect from the Eagles over the time. Luke Powell really leading by example in there in the contested situations. He's had his head down, bum up a number of times, and he's been able to work it out for the Eagles very effectively in there also. Byron Sumner's had some very good moments working as the clearances towards the back of the pack situation. We know that he links up very well with the likes of Luke Jarrah. We know that Chris Kane's also playing that sort of role there along the way as well. Matthew Goldsworthy's another player who tends to work around those clearance situations, and that's the sort of thing that the Woodville West Torrens really do need. As we touched on pre-game, of course, no Angus Roundtree now for at least the next 9 months. So it's going to be a real challenge for some of the younger players to step up, the likes of Appleton, the likes of Dunstan, as long as they have him. We accept that he'll probably go after the AFL next season. Craig Parry's also been really good in this side of things there as well. getting the ball off to his on-ballers, and they've been capitalising on it really well so far, the Eagles. Although they are the point down, you feel that they've had a fair bit of the play in that first half, and this third quarter, as Benny Knight's touched on, certainly the premiership quarter, certainly a double chance quarter more than anything else. There is so much on the line for both teams here. North Adelaide, if they happen to drop this, they go back to fourth. The Eagles win this, they're right in the box seat for the double chance. We are set for an absolute ripper second half of SANFL here on ABC.
Not as we look back at that first half, as we said, we expect, I suppose, the first half was a game of two contrasting quarters for the sides, with North Adelaide getting away in the opening, the Eagles getting away in the opening quarter with the 6-goal to 3-quarter, but then North Adelaide had their turn with the breeze and they come back, and as we said, you can't really judge how well you've done with the breeze until you get to half time.
No, not at all, and as we'd expect from two sides, really having a crack at each other and trying to secure that top 3 spot. It's very evenly poised after they've both had a go with the wind, and the Eagles, as you said, went forward very well in that first quarter. A good spore from Dowell would make a call of that, but then Solder getting on the end of it, and Solder with those 3 first quarter goals made a massive impact and really got on top of Dowell. But then in that second quarter was held very quietly and didn't get a lot of opportunity. We see his impact again, Solder putting that really heavy tackle on Thring, and that resulted in a turnover and another shot on goal. North Adelaide getting those couple going forward, and they got 2 goals within the last minute or two of red time in the first quarter that was so important for them and got them right back into the game.
Yeah, 29-minute mark and the 21-minute mark and the 29-minute mark, and they could have had another one through Stewart late in the quarter, but they weren't able to, or he wasn't able to convert after the siren, as it turned out. So, yeah. The interesting thing is, from Corey Ogilvie, the stats has shown that the Eagles have got 41 more handballs in this match. North Adelaide, by the looks of things, far more efficient and straightforward going into their forward line.
It is an interesting stat. The Eagles, it's certainly not a high possession brand of football that they normally play, but worked out today that keeping the ball out of North Adelaide's hands, especially some of those guys like Max Thring and George Thring and Ryswick, it's important to get it out of their hands. So flicking it round, the ball is dry, so you have the ability to do that. It's better for them to play that way and keep the ball away from those ball carriers, those dangerous carriers of the football, again, like Shannon for North Adelaide.
Well, they did do it pretty effectively. There was 15 minutes without a goal in that second term from North Adelaide, but finally they were able to string that couple of possessions together out of the middle, 24-minute mark, a goal there for Jay Shannon, and they were in front by a point, and they've held that lead at half-time by a point. Quickly through the goal kickers now, and you'll see there Daniel Stewart up forward, important for the Roosters. On a day when it's breezy, it's Daniel Stewart and Nick Solder, 2 of the tall forwards, who've done pretty well for their respective sides. As we look through the stats, Corey's provided another interesting one with the inside 50s, and that is not just 27 to 24 in favour of the Roosters, but in actual fact, to the left of screen, there's 24 inside 50s, and to the right of screen, with the breeze, 27.
Yeah, so you'd think definitely that there'll be more inside 50s going to the right of screen, but it just shows that the potential is there to score despite the wind. The potential's there, therefore, if the entries are in the right spot, that you will have the ability to hit the face of goal and hit the scoreboard if you put it to the right spot. So it is an interesting stat, 24-27 inside 50s and also 24-27 the way they're going. Everything else reasonably even, apart from those handballs we mentioned there. North Adelaide not handballing as much. They are a good long kicking side. They like to run the football. The Eagles flicking around and trying to keep possession up.
I take it we don't have the breakdown from the first and second quarters, but I take it that the Eagles a lot more of that handball possession in the second quarter. Without the breeze, they were looking to just run the ball a bit more, keep it in tight, keep it in their possession rather than turning it over.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Eagles, as I mentioned during the call, also the interesting thing for mine was the fact they, as North did that quarter, attacked on the far wing and the far side with that wind, and then when they were kicking into the breeze, they really chipped it round and carried the football down this close wing, staying out of the breeze as much as possible. Makes it a little bit interesting if they get the turnover, North Adelaide, they get attacked from there, but it also allows them to get the ball into the face of goal and maintain that possession.
Let's go around the grounds with 4 of the top 5 sides in battle this afternoon, and we know here North by a point and Central by 2 points, so obviously the breeze having effect there at Elizabeth as well as they take on West Adelaide, currently 4th on the ladder.
It's such an intriguing couple of games, those two. North Eagles here, but Central's West. I mean, Westies, if they do drop that game, they remain a game behind the loser of today and 2 games behind the winner. So a crucial win for West Adelaide, you think, out there, but always tough to go out to the Ponderosa and get over the top of Centrals. And Centrals have been in some pretty fair form over the past couple of weeks.
We look for North Adelaide now in this second half. Josh Franco identifying what has been an issue for the past couple of weeks. We know 2 weeks ago, very wet. Every losing side scored under 30 points. North Adelaide was one of those sides. Last week didn't recover against the Double Blues.
No.
So this week, all there for them to win in the second half, isn't it? And confidence as well.
Remember, they've got a very good home record, won 10 of the last 11 here at Prospect, so they know how to win, they know how to play the ground. It's a really odd ground as well, it's slightly diagonal, so it's different to most of the other suburban grounds you play on, and that's, again, because North Adelaide train here and play here so regularly, that's a big advantage for them. You'd expect them to come out knowing the conditions and be able to manipulate the game to suit themselves. But the Eagles have got so much riding on it, so much to play for, and it's going to be really important for either side to take advantage. But I see it being an arm wrestle for the entire second half here. I don't see one team necessarily breaking the game open. We've seen it's quite an in-tight, in-close, contested style of football, and the breeze and the difficulty of using that breeze just really means it's going to be even more so a tight, contested brand of football that we're going to see through the second half.
You see that breeze is keeping the windsock full.
Certainly is. It's a very strong westerly. It's blowing a lot of weather across at the moment. Reasonably clear skies, but look, you never know what's on its way either. So if the Eagles can take advantage of kicking to that slight breeze this quarter, or maybe if the rain did come through in the last quarter, that's going to stand them in good stead.
Well, Eagles are such an interesting club. 2 years ago premiers. Last season they started with 5 losses as the defending premiers. They scrambled their way into an elimination final, which they lost to North Adelaide. It's been a roller coaster ride again this season. They're up and down, but they've won 3 of their past 4, and who knows? I mean, it's there for the taking if they can win their closing games, which are not easy. They're going to bye next week, Norwood and Westies.
Yeah, absolutely, and West Adelaide have the softer draw. They've got a couple of easier games. If they did get over Central Districts today and put themselves up into what you'd expect to be 3rd position, they do have a softer draw, and they could just about lock away a top 3 spot. So there's so much right in this game for both the Eagles and North. Whoever loses the game today, you'd think, looking at those draws, because they're all playing each other, they're both playing Norwood, you'd expect that the loser of today will probably finish 4th and miss out on that double chance.
And thus it becomes vital this afternoon. 18 points to margin in favour of the Eagles with the breeze after the first quarter, and at half-time just 1 point in favour of the home team, North Adelaide. And as we look forward to a big second half, Kim Morgan, this will be a very, very fascinating contest between these two sides with 1 quarter each to go with the breeze.
It will be, Crossy. 1 point in it, and last time they played, guys, it was decided with the kick after the siren, so nothing separating them. We're no closer to knowing who wins this. The interesting one, Nida, in all of this top 3 debate is the Dogs. They win today, they got a level with West Adelaide on wins. They're down on percentage, but they'll have won 10 of 13. If they could, I'm sure they wouldn't have given up a top 3 spot either.
And so often during the year we've spoken to Roy Laird about the fact that his side has taken some time to find their legs early in the season. They had a lot of turnover of experienced players. The young guys coming through have taken that little bit of time to come on, and when you look at their side, though, they've still got so much quality running around. Thomas is leading them extremely well, but those young guys have taken it up the next notch, and maybe they've been in the 2s for a few years, quite a few of them. So they've got the experience, not necessarily at league level, but the experience of playing this brand of football, and they've really started to come good at the right time of the season.
The Dogs have got Norwood, the Bays, and one more, Sturt, to finish with. So that's their last 3 games.
So Norwood, the tough one there. They haven't beaten Norwood for a couple of seasons now, but certainly Sturt and the Bays winnable. They're up at the moment by 3 points, and they don't lose many at the Ponderosa. Lost 1 in about 10 years or so to West out there. But back here, big game. 1 point in it. 2v3, second place on the line, and the home side are in front. Just Parry first hands to it. Campbell looks like he's moved into the middle now. Powell might have got high contact there as he went over to pick it up. Umpire lets that go. So Campbell, kick was well weighted in the wind. Very windy day out here. Ormond, Langford, just about gone, I reckon. He's gone. Didn't have long, but it was a great tackle. And Staple, in fact, it's Gafrida, who's been so good today. Gave it to Sumner, kick inside the 50. Goldsworthy was in good position, gets over the back. Fitzgerald and Dalwood. Defender did well. Ivans in there, tackled immediately. And more of what we've seen in that first half. Good tackling game of footy.
Dalwood's gone back into the goal face as well, so he's got Fitzgerald as the deep defender. That's exactly where Josh Franco would like to have him, and probably where Dalwood would like to be himself.
Now it looked like Campbell was held without the ball. Umpire called play on. Teasdale onto Mitchell. Now Jarrett. Oh, good vision. Execution left a bit to be desired. I think he was aiming for Kane. Well done by Campbell pushing off. Shannon similarly got away from a couple, then outside 50 turned it over straight away. Raymond now will have an eye, have a look at what's in front of him, and most of the players are in front of him, most of the players on the ground. He decides just to go into the pocket with the kick. Fitzgerald middle of the pack, then Shannon with the row off the George Thring. Not much available on the far side. Dangerous kick. It's going to find Cohen Teely in the end on his left foot. Jared Kane missed the ball. Wasn't the greatest of kicks. Almost a turnover. Falls for Ryswick. Didn't take it. Umpire said play on. Now Ryswick with the tackle on Jared. Jared somehow got a foot to the ball. Clinch with a hand pass. Max Thring was excellent. But into the path of Batley it went in the end. And we'll finally get a ball up. Tough contest, as we said. Lots of bodies going in hard. And
well done by Teely.
Cohen Teely, bit of a headache out of that one.
Did very well there. He doesn't have the biggest body, but gee, he puts himself in hard for his size, and he's a good, strong man. Great contest.
Max Thring got the kick forward there, gains 45. Boundary line beating them. Great start to the second half. Some really good tackling early. And that collision a moment ago involving Teely, that was just hard footy.
Parry and Craig, great contest. Really enjoyed watching this all day. Going at it too, probably the two dominant ruckmen of the competition.
Parry got in front that time. So if North could score into the window, that would really set the cat amongst the pigeons. There's 2 kicks from goal here, 80 out, as we see another stoppage.
Certainly know where you'd be as a small on baller around the feet of these two, right in front of them. Boundary side.
Teely, was he held without it? Umpire letting it go, and we have a third stoppage without the footy really moving. Jared and Campbell. Jared 15 touches to half-time. That was more than he had in the whole game last week. So he's welcome return to form after a bit of a quiet month by his high standards. Max Thring worked off it by Jared low down. Handed to Powell. Tries to work out of there. Eventually it came to Max Thring. Hooking ball towards half forward. Crowd wanted a free kick. Nothing doing. Eagles can come away again. It's the speedster in Batley. He goes through the middle. One-on-one here. Ivans has got a job against Staple. He used his body well, the defender. And then he kicked very, very deliberately to the boundary line and gets pinged.
It's a tough spot to kick a goal from. Very, very tough. Into the teeth of the breeze. It's going to hold up.
So Dunstan it'll be. Had Staple just for a moment. But
not many options for him to kick to either.
Maybe forced to have a ping at them. It's a tough spot to kick a goal, as Nida said. He finds Goldsworthy.
In an even tougher spot.
Especially for a left footer. You'll have to kick the banana here, you'd think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he might be a metre or two closer to goal, but the banana again put it on the far post, and it might do the job.
He's a clever player. Beautifully done. And Goldsworthy gets the opener. The Eagles get the lead back.
Well, it was well worked. I was surprised at the lack of options and the lack of leading players for the Eagles. I would have thought there'd be 3 or 4 trying to push through the 50, open some space up. But the one option that did come was Goldsworthy. As you said, Kim, a left footer, a tough pocket, but he did have that extra 2 or 3 metres close to the goal. He's punched it with the banana into the teeth, I guess, of the wind and let the wind pull it back, and it's done so beautifully. So really great skills by Goldsworthy. A really important goal for the Eagles. They're back in front. The contest we were after, they're certainly getting that. It's been a very, very tight first 5 minutes of this quarter.
Boys, you know the Ivans free was pretty clear when the Prospect Oval grandstand didn't utter a word.
Craig and Parry nullify each other. Craig follows up pretty well. Thring taken to ground. Umpire said that was okay. Anderson over the shoulder. Little push there. Got away with it. O'Sullivan back on the ball quickly. Receipt from Archer. Into the pocket he goes with a kick and it straightens up and doesn't get through for the goal. Carried through by Ellis Yeoman, who's quick to turn around and send the Eagles back out of their defensive 50.
Lewis. Now Von Berto.
Yep, where you are, Max?
Go for it, mate.
Play on.
Now it's Raymond, the kick towards half forward. Spoil came. Dalwood's handball, not really to anyone in particular. Lewis couldn't take it though. Sets up a chance for North for a moment. Could have been a throw there, doesn't matter because it came to the Eagles anyway. They raced through the middle of the field. Goldsworthy missed with that kick, could be important. Clinch's handball was good. Anderson, who's worked his way into the game, but again a poor kick. And again Jared, who's having a big day.
Jared with his long left foot. Goes out wide for Mitchell. Kane Mitchell. You said the Sandover medalist last season in the WAFL before being put on Port's AFL rookie list and then finding his way into the league side. Inboard he goes. And another sharp kick from the Eagles. And they found Dunstan, and Dunstan goes out wide to Lewis. But around the arc of 50 still, the man on the mark 55 from goal. Lewis, you would think he's even capable of kicking this from this distance. He goes short and carries too far, and it's picked off by the North Adelaide defence. And this is young Greg. So Greg looks to the far side of the ground. I tell you, there's not much out there except Teasdale. He's turned it over. Straight away to Sumner. Sumner, well, he wanted a shot, but he didn't get it. He pushed off Teasdale, and now he bounces towards 50. I wouldn't put this kick beyond him. He goes to the goal square, and it's knocked over and out of bounds.
It's a really poor option going out there. Teasdale wasn't even ready for the football. He was 2-on-1 and was kicked to the wrong side of him. And I'd like to see Teasdale's stats because I actually don't think he's had a touch yet today.
It's been quiet. First game at league level for over a year for Teasdale today. Good form in the reserves. A big step up as we know. So scoring chance still for the Eagles. Dunstan really liked his game. The All-Australian under-18 captain. And he's the one who holds this one up.
Thanks, boys.
So 8 gone third term, 4 points the margin. It's been a tight game all day.
Might have been a little harsh on Teasdale. He's had 5 stats apparently for the first half.
Appleton here. Goal. Big goal, Eagles. And Appleton's second boat to this end, and they get a little bit of breathing space.
Well, the first 2 goals this quarter, they were goalless last quarter. They really struggled to find the face of it, but a nice tap again. The ruck contest, so intriguing today between these 2 players.
Well, Appleton's 2 goals have both just been classical roving goals, haven't they? And great ruck work and great smarts by the young man who's a ball magnet at the lower grades.
Absolutely, a really great tap coming down from Parry. The little palm, the soft palm that he's so good at, holds his position well, and his Rovers and ruck Rovers will be loving the fact they can always read off his arm each day.
Ball down, the umpire's got the hang of the wind. Borholm down to Powell. That time the ball went, I think the umpire bounces slightly on this side of the circle, and the ball went straight up by the time the breeze got it. Not easy when you just throw the ball up, of course. Lewis, and then well done by Miles. Now he's trapped. A little kick away. Craig followed up. Could get it away from Lewis, though. Jared gave it to Mitchell, who towed it forward by accident. Goldsworthy with a good turn, and then a good dummy, and then gave it to Dunstan, then back to Goldsworthy, then wide for Mitchell, and they close him down at the right moment. He got the hand pass out. Oh, this will be a goal. Oh, out of nothing, Fitzgerald's walked into the goals, all but, and kicked it. And the Eagles have got a good break now. It's out to 16 points.
Fitzgerald walked into the goals. The 2 North Adelaide boys walked into the posts. They're both slow to get up. But again, well worked. A little fumble from Mitchell, but he did fantastically to follow this football up. Goldsworthy's turn of speed, a wonderful take. Good little pup that he sold. And the 1-2-3 through here to Mitchell, who kept working. Got the turn. That was a good tackle, but just needed to wrap the arms. And a bit fortuitous in the end, the fact that the Eagles and Fitzgerald could walk into that goal, but really well worked. They're carrying the ball forward. That's 3 to start this quarter out. North Adelaide need to get some ascendancy back.
One player that North really need more from is Tom Langford too, boys. He was dropped for disciplinary reasons last week and he struggled to get near the ball today.
He's been quiet. So Appleton here, they're having a great patch, the Eagles. They go again. Inside, 50 stapled just through the hands. Greg was down, put Darwin under real pressure. They work it out. Greg Rennie's 10 metres. The kick is okay. Here is Langford. Well done by Gordon at ground level now.
Space.
Anderson, big chance here. If this footy sits up for Cohen Teely. Monberto it is chasing him out there. Teely had to back away from the goals. Did it well. Gathers just over the head of Archer, who was on his own, and it's going to come out the other way.
Eagles, not much on this side of the ground as Staple limps off the ground. Archer dropped what he could have taken. Parrish just walked onto the ground and got a possession. Inside half forward with a kick. Fitzgerald first to recover from Dalwood's punch. Fitzgerald, good vision. He goes across to Dunstan. He could have shaped up the goals on his left foot instead to Mitchell, and they mess it up at the end. And the ball was rushed through by Dalwood, who came back hard. And Orman couldn't get the kick away. Dalwood brings the ball in quickly.
So danger signs for North at the moment. The Eagles are starting to open them up a bit. This kick from Shannon found Gordon, who found Anderson. He's had a bit of it in this term. Good flying Mark Stewart. Had a huge first term, Stewart. Been well held since then.
Look where that kick's gone, though, Kim. It's right out on the boundary at the corner of the 50. Very, very tough kick. Almost 2 kicks to get it back in the face of goal from there.
He elects to go short. Wanted Teasdale. Campbell. Archer by hand back to Stewart. Hooking ball right to the square. Well done by Kane.
See how the Eagles go in their transition here. They were excellent a minute ago, carrying the football the full length of the field and having a shot on goal. They've come to the attacking side, so they're taking the punt.
Punt doesn't quite come off. Anderson quickly Thring off his non-preferred. Not bad, just sat it over the head though of Ryswick. So Batley with a mark, and he'll go short to Raymond. Raymond now, the Eagles just steady somewhat. Big lead from Dunstan. Oh, and they try to get it to him, miss him by a long way. And it's into Thring's hands again, and again, just unable to pull off the kick. So the Eagles, a little bit of relief there. They're in a bit of trouble. This will be 25 to Ellis Yeoman, the North Adelaide player coming over the mark. Kane Mitchell's away on centre wing, but it'll be all called back to the true centre half back position.
Pretty unlucky. Sorry, Ken, that was pretty unlucky for the Eagles. Mitchell had 30 metres on Campbell and he was away.
I was just about to say that, Nida. He finally got that space that he used to enjoy over there in Perth, but it got called back. Sumner's got this one. Back from suspension today, Sumner. Had to be called
a long way.
Too far. And a penalty, is it? No.
Yep, 25.
25 it is.
He kicked it away.
So that's a big moment in the game. Eagles about to go one way now. A shot on goal into the wind. And just waiting to see who's going to take this. Will it be Lee Ryswick? No, he'll give it to Cohen Teely. Either way, pretty good set shot usually.
Just get the old sheepdog hair out of the eyes there, Colin. Go back and have a kick. It's going to be tough. He's going to have to carry this 40 metres. Left-hand post, we've said it all day.
Hasn't kicked one for a couple of weeks, Teely, but was in some good goal-kicking form prior to that. He comes in. Does he hang it left? He does, and it just didn't come around for him. So North miss a couple of opportunities at the other end.
Never looked confident, did he, Teely, really? Here's Monberto. He drops it in short. Powell.
Good possession brand of football the Eagles are playing at the moment. They're really valuing their possessions, holding on to the football.
Then Kane. And they go short. Taken by Lewis. North Adelaide, very interesting just watching them down the ground. They're very conscious of the switch being on and trying to prevent the Eagles going through the corridor. And here's Sumner in his defensive 50. He looks up and he's got the chip on and he gets away with it to Powell. Now they're away, the Eagles, and they go through that aforementioned corridor straight up to Fitzgerald. Allman follows back towards the goal. Tumble punt inside 50. Still going, and oh gee, Goldsworthy. That was ambitious, but he almost pulled it off.
A little left-hand palm onto the left foot, and geez, it would have been a miraculous goal if he'd kicked that. But that was really good play again by the Eagles, finding that space he talked about, crossing through the midfield, through the corridor, and hitting the face of goal with their runners. The kick was better, perhaps over the top of space. They would have had a goal on the end of that.
Almost pulled it off in the end anyway, didn't they? But Keller's kick here, got it from clearly now Jarrett, had a long time. Dunstan inside 50, good kick. Spotted it up perfectly, and Lee Staple.
Like to go back here, boys. Have a look in the background, and we just don't quite see it. Joey Anderson came through with the big elbow to the head on the Shepherder. And look, it's another one of those ones. We saw it in the first quarter. There's a little bit of niggle out there now. Another shot on goal for the Eagles, but
That's your line where I'm standing.
yeah, if that's on camera too, that's one to keep an eye out for. The elbow definitely came up from Anderson.
The last time Staple kicked a goal, it was due to a report on Miles. It's usually a very deliberate kick for goal, and he just didn't quite judge the breeze there and died on it. So it led off. There's been let-offs at either end in this term. 17 points remains the margin. Haven't broken it open yet, the Eagles.
Certainly haven't. North Adelaide looking to transition this footy and get it going. They've been forced wide onto that outer side. It really is the defensive side of the ground. It's a good kick though.
Shannon drives it. Archer picks it up. And it'll be down the ground too.
And a little bit of niggle behind play here too, Crossy. Teely's gone down and the remonstrations come directly, and the umpires paid the second one. So the remonstration.
So just when North Adelaide looked like they were attacking, it's come to Salter. And boy, this would be a no. I wouldn't put it beyond Nick Salter either if he has a shot. He's decided against it. So he's gone wide with the kick to Hall. And then short was Parry. And Parry looks up and waits. I just noticed the windsock in the background virtually blowing the breeze into his face as he looks at the goals now. So 17 the margin in favour of the Eagles. Parry sits it up. Catch it if you can. A lot of Roosters there. One of them was Langford, took a strong mark. Not able to do it at the defensive end, at the attacking end, but he took a good defensive mark there. George String, Jared using all his experience to back him up. Rooster fans not happy.
Bring him back, bring him back.
String, that ball was touched, so it'll be play on regardless, and there's confusion reigns, and they'll be touched off the boot, and it will be a throw up. Gafrida took it, was tackled immediately. Roosters fans up in arms, but at least somebody knows what's going on.
I think Michael Avon had paid the mark. He didn't hear the whistle himself. Now Lewis, gee, there's some heat coming to this. 18 gone, third term, 17 points the margin. Keep in mind that North will come home with this strong breeze, so this game is so evenly poised still. It has been all day. Trying to come through Anderson, he's been good in the stoppages. Amato, stripped of it. Jared, can they get it towards Gafrida? Appleton tried to, gets him now, and the bump was good, just as he is about to slip through from George Thring.
Certainly a bit of heat in this. Little spot fires coming up everywhere. A lot in the line, the players know that. That builds the pressure. Coaching box, no doubt, under pressure as well. Josh Franco trying to find jobs everywhere. Teasdale's now gone to Mitchell.
Play on!
Craig's hit, dangerous. Goldsworthy can kick this. He is a clever player, but he just couldn't quite. And he's almost kicked 3 in this term, 2 narrowly missing, 1 going through.
Yeah, Franco realising that perhaps Teasdale's been a little bit quiet. He is a good player, we know that. We've seen him play some great footy in the reserves in the last couple of weeks, so he's gone to Mitchell, give the young man a job, get him around the footy.
Play on!
Well, he'll certainly learn to run a little way in this match, will Teasdale, if he's on Mitchell. Ball long, back into the 50, and a mark by Goldsworthy outside of the foot. Oh, that is goal of the day.
Do you like it?
That is extraordinary. Well, he tried before to knock it from left hand to left foot and only just missed. that time he got it spot on.
You could almost just pencil in mark of the day and goal of the day for that. Running back with the flight of the ball, Goldsworthy snatches it. Look at that, great grab, and then, do you mind?
How good is that?
The outside of the boot, the left foot. He knows the wind's working with him, but under a lot of pressure, a great grab, a wonderful finish, and if that doesn't spark the Eagles midfielders and lift everyone around the ground for the Eagles, then nothing will. Again, they stretch that margin. It's getting a tougher job for North Adelaide.
24 points. They wouldn't want it to blow it any more. 32 on the season for Goldsworthy, 2 in this term. He's having an elite season. Also, up in the top echelon of the comp for tackles and kicks. Such a clever player. Hall was first at this foot. He did well to go down, get a handball out. Now Dunstan kicks to Salter, had 2 to beat. The spoil came from behind from Miles. Appleton was down. And footy held up there. And the grandstand all of a sudden pretty quiet here.
Yeah, the umpire hasn't made a poor decision or perceived poor decision for 5 minutes, and North haven't got their hands on the footy, so North Adelaide supporters definitely going to their shells.
Well, their game high margin, 24 points, 21 gone, so it's manageable for North now, given they'll have this breeze in the final term, but another one you think it becomes difficult.
Keep in mind that first quarter, Kim, we thought that with the Eagles. They got 4 goals out, 5 goals out, and then North kicked the last 2 of the quarter to bring the ball back to 18 points.
They come again. It was Powell. Hall's kick, well read by Thring on this occasion, slips over, had time, gave it to Dalwood. Now Dalwood's got to be cool, got it back to Thring, just has to slap it on the boot. Kick smothered by Appleton. Pressure on North at the moment. And they'll just be happy to get the ball up.
Well done by the Eagles defenders, or defensive forwards I should say. That's really good forward defence. It's so important in this day and age to hold the ball in that forward 50. Transition football so much improved over the past few years.
Oh, Shannon somehow came out of the pack. Interesting hand pass though, dangerous. Cohen Tearley was loose. Fitzgerald wouldn't be happy with it, but eventually Ellis Yeoman did well. Off the right foot, Jarrod. Wide he goes with a kick, and it was a pretty good one. And Goldsworthy with the mark. I don't think there's any question that he marked that before it was knocked out of his hands by Campbell.
He's having a good patch, isn't he, Goldsworthy? He's finding space both sides of the ground. This might be a bit easy for him.
Perhaps he'd like to go towards the boundary and check side from there.
Sell the puck, run around, son.
So Matthew Goldsworthy, 2 goals for the term, 24 points to margin, a chance to stretch it to a game high 30. Goldsworthy kicks it straight, and it goes to the left, I should say. So he misses, and North Adelaide, this was virtually as we were at quarter time, or going into quarter time. 27 minutes in the opening quarter, 25 the margin, as it is now at the 23-minute mark of the third term.
An hour has transpired, and not much has changed. Still got a great contest. Chance here, North. They did get late ones in the first term. Shannon got it to O'Sullivan. His kick, Ryswick was the target, but the check side caused it to deviate through the air. Batley got it to Ormond. Ormond's kick into the middle. Ball to be won. Well done by Lewis. He was clean there. Has 2 bounces. Runs his full measure. Long ball. Staple at the back. Not sure if he was the target.
I think he was. It's just that Salter's opponent slipped over, and Salter had 10 metres on his opponent, so I thought the shorter option, dropping the eyes, might have been better, but a little push off, good use of the body.
So tough spot to score from. Staple knew that. And he goes for Powell. Breeze will be working with him, but just a little bit against him here from that side of the ground. It'll test the old legs of Luke Powell.
I'll be sitting front and centre if I was an Eagles crummer. But he should get the carry, should get the distance here.
So Luke Powell, the skipper of the Eagles, this kick could set them on the path to a win here. He gives it everything he's got. He got the journey, but again that breeze doing what it's done all day and just tugging it to the outer side of the ground.
After that knock late in the second quarter there, Nathan Gordon, apart from now, has really been struggling to get his way to the contest, and that conversely shows that North Adelaide are also struggling to get into the contest.
Good, mate. Go there, mate.
Campbell at half back, keeps it low. Stretch there from Amato. Well done by Ellis Yeoman. Jared stood up in the tackle. I think he was going for the boundary line as much as the targets out there. Max Thring, clever. Shadow Sullivan, Amato, and carried forward. So says the umpire. All of a sudden, yes, the Roosters fans are up and around.
10-14, the free kick count now. You'd think it was 5-20.
Amato down the line. They need a late goal to the Roosters. Teasdale with the tackle on Von Berto, who released the ball. Now we'll get a ball up 60 from the North Adelaide goal. As I said, they could do with one about now. 26 points down, just about three-quarter time.
Haven't got one in this term, North. Miles tackled Powell in there. So the Eagles won't want to concede here. They've done beautifully in this term. They've turned what was a 1-point deficit into a 26-point lead, and they are perfectly placed to turn for home. The late one would just change the feel of it, though, for the Roosters. Again, another stoppage. First quarter went almost 29 minutes. This one only goes to 26 and a half, and the Eagles pinch a little break. The only 4 goals of the third term, and they lead at 10-10-70 to 6-8-44.
Well, 3 scoring shots to North Adelaide in that quarter, but no goals. The Eagles went goals in the second quarter. It's exactly as we probably planned with the wind, 3 or 4 goal advantage, kicking to the right of screen. The Eagles have done a great job there. They've restricted the North Adelaide run. Their ball winners are starting to get the footy. They're looking dangerous up forward, but really it's all there for North Adelaide to take. The wind is in their favour in this last quarter. Can they bounce back? Can they get the contest going in their favour again? And it's an intriguing position that this game's in at the moment.
Three-quarter time at Prospect Oval, and it's the visitors by 26 points.
Well, that was impressive from the Eagles in that third term. They did take control of the ball. There was a period when we thought they were going to struggle to score, and North Adelaide had held them. But, gee, at the end of the day, when you look at the scoreline now, you'd have to favour them going into the final term.
Oh, you certainly would. They got right on top there. North Adelaide's runners and ball carriers really were restricted, and the Eagles look the goods at the moment. But as we know, this game's turned around each quarter with the breeze, and North Adelaide won't certainly see themselves as being out of this game.
We talk about Matt Goldsworthy. He started the scoring in the quarter and he finished, and really it was a good quarter from him and for the Eagles. As we know, with the breeze, they led by 18 points at quarter time, but they trailed by a point at half time after North Adelaide had found a way to score 3 goals into the with the breeze, and having been held goalless in that second term and just the 1 point, the Eagles found a way to score a rush of goals in the third term.
Definitely, and some of the ball carry here, we'll see Goldsworthy again instrumental in getting that ball through to Mitchell and flicking it on. They've had 2 or 3 scoring shots this quarter that have come from that pocket. Goldsworthy kicked that banana kick to start the quarter out, and then the Eagles runners, I guess, getting the ball forward and just being fundamentally on top in most areas of the ground. Again, on that outer side, North Adelaide going there defensively, but the ball coming back in far too easily. And whilst the big talls haven't been as dangerous as they were perhaps in that first quarter, the likes of Goldsworthy, who just, that's a miraculous goal, a wonderful mark running back with courage, but then to finish the way he did, that was just exceptional football. But that's the sort of football that I guess comes when you're feeling confident, when you are dominant, and you'll see again the run coming through the middle through Lewis. This is what Eagles did so well in that quarter. They found the football in space, they used it going forward, and they've made the most of their opportunities.
If anything, 4 goals, 6 for the term, you'd say that maybe they didn't make the most of their opportunities in the end, but certainly their forward 50 entries for that quarter, 16-6. So they've used the breeze. It's up to North Adelaide. And I suppose that's the thing, North Adelaide can't get away from the fact that they will have the breeze.
Yeah, certainly. And look, as we saw in the first half, though, just because you've got the breeze doesn't mean you can't go to that left of screen. You can't kick to the northern end of the ground, and the Eagles will give themselves every chance to keep kicking on and keep taking the advantage because they're right on top at the moment. They don't want to let North Adelaide back into this game.
One of the players been good this afternoon for the Eagles. 11 possessions in 3/4 of football for Luke Dunstan. Only a kid, under 18 state captain this year. And look, he's wearing a mattress, as I said, on his left leg. He's got obviously an issue with perhaps a corky there, but he's shown some good things, good signs this afternoon.
Yeah, he's definitely got some poise, and I assume that as the under 18 captain for the States, he's definitely got some leadership skills, and the fact that he's struggled perhaps to get a league game with the Eagles. It's probably good for him because it means that he's definitely earned his spot in the side. He is doing some good things. He's getting his hands on the football, but he's obviously got those leadership skills as well that the AFL recruiters will be looking for later this year.
There's only so many players like Bryce Gibbs who go straight into AFL football, isn't there, at 18 years of age, having been recruited. So it's
Absolutely.
something at this level that he has to get used to. Well, at this level, let's go down now to the boundary level with Chris Kendall. And Chris, you've been listening in with the Roosters.
Not surprisingly, Josh Franco not happy with the way they're not sticking their tackles at the moment. While they laid 14, they missed 10 in that quarter. The defensive side of things is one he feels really got away from them in that second term and the third term also in particular, though. Also feels they're playing a little bit too wide around the ground. Wants them to go long and direct down the centre if they're going to try and arrest this slide at the moment. Wants Nathan Gordon to play fairly deep up forward. Daniel Stewart up there as well. He's going to have Chad O'Sullivan working at their feet. They're going to go to a much more traditional setup than rather than having loose men going through the back lines. They're just going to throw the dice and go long and direct and see what happens with the wind.
Thanks for that, Chris. As we look around the grounds, Josh Franco coming off the ground there, but Central's by 29 points. So clearly Westies will have the breeze there going into the final quarter, but that's a fair old lead too for Central District out on their home ground at Elizabeth, as it is for the Eagles here.
It certainly is. It's a big margin, but you wouldn't write Westies off. I mean, most people have probably touted the fact that it's West Adelaide and Nord who've been the dominant sides throughout the year. Maybe Westies coming off the bye, but also with that Foxtel Cup win, maybe they've taken a bit of time to warm themselves back up.
Let's go down to boundary again, to ground level at least, with Michael Godden. He's with Chris.
One thing you have to be really happy with there, Mick, the defensive pressures of the forwards to lock it in that quarter was outstanding.
Yeah, I thought in the second quarter we just didn't hold the footy in the forward half at all, so with a really big emphasis at half time to talk about that, and they did it really well, but they need to maintain it now for another 30 minutes.
The back line's been very good as well. They're using their run and their speed and their spread very effectively to try and work it out wide.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we've got to try to spread north out and then try and cut back through the corridor. So we'll continue to try that.
Thanks, Gods.
Thanks to Michael Godden there. His side's in the box seat here, 26-point lead. They will kick into a stiff breeze. 13 of the 16 goals have come to the southern end, North Adelaide. They will need at least 5, you'd think, in this term to win it. Second spot on the line for the winner. Yeah. Last quarters haven't been great in the last couple of weeks, North. They have to find something, but it's going to be the Eagles who should get first crack at it. Allman got a high one from Max Thring. So Trent Allman, who's been good today. North just can't afford to concede an early one. Now the whistle here, and what will the umpire say? There's some holding. Mark had been taken anyway down there, and there would have been a hold anyway. And Fitzgerald, well, this now, I mean, this kick could be decisive early in the last term.
Absolutely, Kim. If he goes back and slots this, it's going to open the game right up. Not what North wanted to start this quarter.
Very kickable, Fitzgerald. He hasn't kicked one to this end. He has got one now, and he's got 3 on the day. And it's a big break now. 32 points to the Eagles.
Well, again, it was a